You doing out there? Happy birth or happy Easter. It's my birthday today, or it's actually tomorrow. But I just figured, yeah, I would go live because I'm not doing too much today. Just gonna pull up a chat here. You guys hear me okay? Here we go. Hey, Alberta Schoolie Adventure. How you doing? So I just whipped up a bowl of yogurt. It's actually my plate, which is a frying pan, and I got some dandelions in there. Oh, right on. That's good. How you doing? Hey, Big Bad John. Oh, this is a tasty thing of yogurt. Oh man, all right, you guys are tuning in. AJ, you learn how to cook for me. That's great. Well, hopefully you learn how to cook for me, not how to fish for me, because I need to get better at catching fish. I used to be really good at catching fish. Happy Easter to you guys too, by the way. Dandelions and yogurt. Yeah, that's right. So I went and picked some dandelion flowers. These are good. They have lecithin in them. And then I just have a bowl or pan full of yogurt. In this case, I've got some spirulina powder in it, so that's kind of like a green algae, and then some bee pollen, pumpkin seeds, and what are those things called? Pecans. And there's a bit of bee pollen in there. Van City Adventure, how are you too? Good to see you. Oh man, that's cool. How's everybody's holiday going today? Like, is anybody enjoying their Easter? I know I had a good little fun time with my daughter just a little while ago. She was we had a little chat, and I bought an Easter egg, and I had it with her. She had one too. So I kind of officially at that moment skipped off of my keto diet, but that's okay. It was really worth it. Pretty cute to see her, and she's gone on an Easter egg hunt too, so she's going to give me a little update on that later on. Pretty fun. Yeah. Oh, Lori, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Oh, wicked. Chubs, alone watching Naked and Afraid. Don't know what you mean by that. Interesting that you're naked, though. Maury Bugaros, 8 dandelions at the garden yesterday. My friends were laughing at me. Well, there you go. I mean, a lot of people don't really know that you can eat them, and they happen to be an excellent superfood. So, I mean, you know more than they do, and it's good for you all the way around. So, you can eat the whole plant too. You can eat the roots, and you can eat the leaves, and you can eat the stem too if you want, like the little stalk that goes up to the flower. The only thing I haven't had is the seeds, and I tried sprouting them once, but it didn't work out. I've got a big bag of dandelion seeds, by the way, too. Kim, thanks for the super chat. Easter is going well over here, and I'm definitely enjoying the nice weather. I had an awesome couple days just recently, and I'm sitting here at Nick's place. I'm kind of like, well, I could go back out there, but I'm trying to save on gas, and I'm going to be back here going to work on his van starting tomorrow. So it's might as well just stick around. So that's what I'm doing. Naked and Afraid is a TV show, Joseph. LOL. Okay. Yeah, I never heard of that. Okay. It's not my TV show, is it? uh, okay, I'll have to look that one up. TV show. I haven't seen actual TV in a long time. I was I saw a TV the other day, and it'd probably be the first time I seen one in probably 2-3 years or so. It was kind of interesting to see what was on there. But yeah, I mean, I just watch YouTube and the odd show on Netflix. Although my I guess my allure to Netflix is drying up quite a bit, so there's not a lot on there that I really enjoy right now. Anyway. Oh, thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Yeah, my birthday is actually tomorrow, but I figured, I don't know, I just kind of put it out there. I thought of going fishing for my birthday, but I'm not going to do anything. I don't usually. Well, I'm going to go out. Nick is taking me out for dinner tomorrow night, so that'll be nice. We're going to go to this place called Jumbo or something like that. I don't know if it's weird place. Jumbo. Oh, I don't know if it's a weird place, but it's he seems to think it's good. Oh, Edgy, thank you. Easter Valley boy, yeah. Thank you, Edgy. I really appreciate that. I'm totally milking the whole birthday thing. I realize it, and I'm totally upfront about it. I thought of doing a fishing video, fishing for super chats. Anyway, it's all good. I really appreciate it, you guys. That's awesome. Yes, and it does make me an Aries. James was saying that. Thanks, Alberti Schooly Adventure. Yeah, so I do have some foraging stuff coming up for you guys. I shot a video the other day. It's going to be good. So that's going to be, I finally got some time where I took off and I went and did that. So I feel really good that I fit that in there. There's a few things here that I'm behind on as far as foraging. Dandelions are all over the place, so that's fine. I did a video on that last year. I could probably do another one, but I'd like to kind of show you guys some other stuff as well. So in time, I'll probably skip out here and do a little bit of that. Do a little bit more foraging. I'm so excited about foraging this year, you guys. Like, I want to do it more than fishing. I want to spend some time doing some fishing this year as well, but I really want to spend some time foraging for wild plants and stuff like that. And yeah, there's pollen in the dandelions for sure. Deborah, you're saying that. The pollen's really good. Just about, I mean, it's not great for everybody because some people are allergic to pollens. Mostly that's getting it in your sinuses and your lungs, but from a homeopathic point of view, you can consume some pollens and eat them, and supposedly that helps you deal with the pollen in the air a little bit better. So I don't know, it's something you could try if you guys have allergies to pollens and stuff like that. Yeah, and you can buy bee pollen as well, and I did buy some a while ago. I'll show you what that looks like. That's it here, and these ones are from northern BC. This is collected up there, so it's just these are little kernels of pollen right here. I expect these bees would have been, you know, getting this stuff from fireweed probably, and different types of alpine and northern BC wild plants. So essentially they'll go out and they'll harvest all this pollen from the different flowers, and they kind of roll it up into these little kernels and take it back to the hive. And of course this has been harvested, so, but by consuming it, you're kind of giving yourself a homeopathic treatment to pollen in a sense, but otherwise, like, this stuff's full of amino acids and just a lot of really good things. It's kind of like a superfood. And I'm going to be doing a video on harvesting this stuff, not necessarily bee pollen, but I'm going to do a pollen harvesting video in the near future. I'm really excited about it because I want to get a ton of pollen. And you're like, what? Pollen? How do you harvest that? It's a pretty cool process, but you can harvest pollen, and it's almost that time. So I'm going to be doing a pollen harvesting video. But it is from a tree. It is a tree pollen that I'm after. Tony C's, thank you, buddy. Thanks for the super chat, for some bait and coffee for your birthday fishing, dude. Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'll definitely put that towards coffee and bait for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna take my friend Mark out fishing, who's also some friends of yours as well. Mark, the paint guy. And oh, and there he is. Hey, buddy. He's in the super chat already. Hey, Mark. So yeah, we'll do some fishing and stuff like that at some point soon. And yeah, AG, raw honey is really good too. There's a lot of good stuff in raw honey as well. It hasn't been pasteurized, so it keeps a lot of the original qualities from wild plants and stuff like that in it, or just you know, if it's coming from a bigger culture of plants and stuff like that too. Shannon Emery, I'm gonna be 43. That's it. I'm 43 years old now. 43 years young. I better rephrase that. Anyway. Mark, how you doing up there, man? I'm wondering about you today. I know you're ripping out Jeff's van today, so how's that going? Sarah Rose. Hey, all, catching you all from my home, not fishing. Season closed where I went. Our season, well, I mean, our season always changes up here. So right now there's not a lot that's in season, but I can still go fishing. You just kind of have to read the regulations and find out what you can go and harvest or what you can go fish for, catch and release and all that sort of thing, and then do that. So yeah, Shannon, yeah, sorry, I meant how young. I'm 43 years young, Shannon, that's it. Oh, Melanie Bookshop, thank you. Appreciate that super chat. Right on. Oh man, thanks guys. So how's everybody's day out there? How's Easter? I just been chilling today. It's been a relaxing day. I've tinkered on my van a little bit. I've got something else in here to do today. I think I'm gonna, I don't have it in here, it's probably in the shop, but I got some fenders that I'm gonna put on the back wheel wells just to help with some of the spray that's coming up off the road onto the back. I installed that little shore power plug, and it just gets covered in mud whenever I take it on a back road or something. So I'm gonna put this little flap down behind my wheel to help prevent that from happening. I hope it works. I bought them months ago actually, and I just been sitting on them. So I'm finally gonna get around to putting those on today. Was gonna do it the other day, but I think today's the day. And oh, Jane Kwan, thank you. Happy birthday, happy Easter from Singapore. All right, right on. Thanks, guys. Wish I had some jelly beans. Yeah. So, yeah, Shannon, I'm an Aries like you, I guess. If you're an Aries too, I'm an Aries. So, happy Aries month. Yeah. My friend Emmy, I learned, the cat lady Van, she's an Aries as well. So that was pretty cool. It was her birthday earlier this month. Um, some Semanus 369. You're saying it's getting hot and sunny out. It's definitely been getting. So the weather here has been interesting. There's a lot of plants and stuff that are coming up. It's been pretty cold and windy. It snowed like 3 days ago, and or 4 days ago or something like that. It's been a cold and windy spring. Like outside right now, it's super windy out. It's brisk, but it's also warm in the sun too, so it's not bad. A lot of the plants are coming up, but it's still kind of cool, I guess. I know some of the locals here in Victoria are saying it's a pretty cool summer, so who knows. But I think it's not bad. It's pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, you guys are just sending me so much love. I really appreciate it. It's I don't really know what to do with a lot of that stuff. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's good to get it all, and I love all the love. It's just shoot me some questions. Give me some questions. Give me some stuff to talk about. I know it's my day, but I can't. I got to get off my day too. Anyway, it's all good. I come up with stuff to talk about all the time, so I should be able to do it now. So, I guess what I could say is things are going to change here pretty soon. I'm about 6 videos ahead, maybe 5 now, and I'm working on another one right now. I'll try to release that in the next couple days. So I did put one out today. And there's another one that's coming out where it's going to be mostly work on my van for this next one. And then I've got a couple cool social videos and some foraging stuff coming out. After that, I'll probably be getting back to work on Nick's van. And there's a really good chance that Mark the paint guy is going to be coming down here and doing some work on Nick's van at the same time. If it works out, that's going to be really cool because we'll both be kind of tag teaming it. He'll be outside working on the body. I'll be on the inside working on the inside of the van. And we'll probably take some fishing breaks and stuff like that and take off and do some fishing. That being said, yeah, Flisker, you're asking any cross-country road trips in the future. I was planning on going to, actually planning on spending my birthday and Easter up in Nelson, BC with my friend Andrew. And he invited me to go out there and do some turkey hunting. And so he's been sharing information about that, like how his season's going so far. But I decided not to go just because the fuel prices were really high and I was trying to be conservative on what I was spending my money on and stuff. But I do need to go back to the mainland and take care of a bunch of business in Vancouver. And I was thinking, well, it'd be really fun to go on that drive and just get some time out there. So I'm deliberating on that still. But more than just going over there to do some turkey hunting, I'm more interested in venturing out into some old burns from last year and see if I can get into some morel picking and pick a bunch of morel mushrooms. So that's actually more exciting for me right now than going hunting. So if I could do that, that would be pretty good. Yeah, I think other than that, I'd probably spend some time in the backcountry on the mainland and stuff and just, I don't know, have some campfires and stuff like that. And that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I have planned for now, and then it's going to be work on this thing, and once this is like done or the cutoff is done, which would be mid to late May, I really want to take off in my van and go appreciate it and just go on the road and travel full time at that point for the whole summer. I don't want to have anything on my plate. I just want to go out there and shoot videos and check out the countryside and stuff like that, do some fishing and foraging and whatnot, or just, I don't know, I just don't want to have any plans or commitments for this summer, so all bets are off for all that stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of my plan, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, oh, Patsy, thanks for saying that. Enjoy watching your different projects. Extremely talented. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like, it's super therapeutic for me to work on like Nick's van or tinker around and work on a project. It sometimes I'm not like, it takes me a while to get into something, but I really appreciate it once I'm doing it. It's pretty fun. Oh, the Fisher van, it's your birthday too. Happy belated birthday to the Fisher van. Right on. You say, thanks, guys. Okay, Alberta Schoolie Adventures asking if I could add anything to my van. What would I add? I've got this plan to, I want to add a little table that goes out the side of my van, and I want to basically just, the back of my bed, in the back, as I open up my trunk and that door opens up, I can slide something in underneath that back piece of plywood back there that I could take out and then fit on the side door here when I open up the side door, and just use that as an outdoor cooking and food prep area. So that's something that I'm thinking to add to the van shortly. There's some, I want to get a little bit more new lights put on the outside of the van, and that's going to be coming up soon. I'm just waiting on a wire connector and some more crimp connectors and stuff to come in, and then once I get all that, I'm going to go ahead and put some more lights on the exterior of the van. That's just another sort of continuation of a sponsorship video coming in from Oxbeam. Those guys and I, we've been communicating ever since we did that first video together, so I'll be doing a little bit more with the van in that regard. And then I'm going to do some cabinets up here on this side and try to finish up the inside of the van. So that's what I got planned for now. Yeah, Insanity, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Really appreciate that. Thanks so much, man. That's really gonna help me out, man. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Gilbert, you're asking how did I learn carpentry? I did, I don't know, I just kind of did a lot of projects when I was younger, and then I learned a bunch of it from like a contractor friend of mine that I worked for a while, and he gave me some pointers and stuff, and it was just something that I was able to pick up pretty quickly. I got into it after I'd already spent quite a bit of time working in the aviation industry, so I had a bunch of skills that I could bring to the table and just build on those and apply it to working with wood and stuff like that. So that's really where it kind of comes from. I didn't really go to school or anything like that for it. And I do learn a lot, like watching other people work with wood and or any other trade for that matter. And then I just sort of figure out new tips and tricks, and I'll try it out and apply it and stuff like that. I was realizing when I work on Nick's van or something like that, and I was chatting with him about this the other day, because Nick is an extremely talented individual. He's able to multitask a lot and have a bunch of different things going on at the same time. And I can't do that so much. Like, I like to be like focused on one thing at a time. And when I am focused on just working on his van, I'm usually 4 or 5 steps ahead of what I'm doing with my hands. And in that moment, in my brain, I'm already 4 or 5 steps ahead. So I'm always thinking about economy of movement. And when I'm moving around, this was something I learned from stuff that Bruce Lee used to talk about. Not that I'm into martial arts, I think that's, it's a really cool art to be into. I just never got into it, but the economy of movement was like moving, so like when you're, let's say you're grabbing something and you're walking across the room to go get it, and there's a couple other things that you can pick up or do along the way. It's just fitting all that other stuff in so that you're getting the most of that movement and you're doing a lot of different things. And when I'm building like a van or something like that, I try to think that way as well and employ that. So in a way, it's kind of like it's almost like a Zen practice, like a form of Satori, and I try to be as present as I can with that one thing that I'm focused on and do it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Rob, you're asking where's Nick's bed going in the van. It's going to be like those back cabinets. You'll see them pretty clearly in the last video that I put out this morning. His bed goes right on the top of those. So he's got quite a tall garage. And that's so he can put his e-bikes underneath there. That's the reason why his bed is built up that high. So that's that. Yeah. Oh, hey, Primordial Wolf. Good to see you in here. Ready to go skydiving in a Tonga. Or toga. In a toga. Okay. Were we talking about skydiving at some point? I know I was talking about skydiving with somebody. I just forget. Maybe it was you, but I don't know. Man, what a trip that would be. I'd probably try it, but it's not something I'd go out of my way to go do. Like, I wouldn't, I don't know, I'd give it some, I'd try it out one day. I just wouldn't invest too much time in trying to make that happen. But, yeah. Outdoor Explorer, you're saying if I'm in the Kamloops area, you can take me out mushroom picking for morels. Oh, that'd be great, man. Shoot me an email. info@sharingthewild. I don't know. You never know. I'm not sure if I'm going to be out that way, but if I do go out in that area, like I'd love to go hit up a burn, and if I can learn a little bit from someone that has some local knowledge and is a bit more experience, because I've never picked morels. The best I can do is just kind of approach it the way I usually do, and it's just read and research a lot and learn about other people doing videos and stuff like that, and then going out and giving it a go myself. Yeah. But, Wildflower Wind, you're asking, do I get lonely or really love your own company? I do get lonely, so for sure. Loneliness is kind of like, I mean, it doesn't happen often, but I spoke about this on one of my live chats before. It's seldom, but it's it's an experience I think most human beings experience, and I experience it. And in some ways, I kind of deliberately want to get a little bit more in touch with it, because I'm watching myself right now and I'm quite busy. There's a lot going on in my life. That's why this summer I really don't want to have any plans. Like I really want to foster and create a lot of stillness in my life so that I can get a little bit more intimate with some deeper aspects of myself and work through that. And loneliness is probably going to creep up. And so there's probably other things too, like just, I've got behaviors that I'm recognizing, like whether it be eating out of boredom or something, or watching a show or something like that. Like there's all these little behaviors that I've got, and we learned about them in the counseling school that I was in, and called them anxiety binding behaviors. And it's usually when you get slightly uncomfortable or something like that, you end up doing something to distract yourself from whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. And that being said, I kind of want to foster that space of stillness so that I can become more in touch with what it is that's making me uncomfortable, and try to learn from those things and tap into what the message is deeper into that. So, but yeah, loneliness comes up. I don't know, comes and goes. but most of the time I feel, pretty good. And it's important to really love your own company for sure. Like, the way I do that is I just always work on myself, and I try to develop and become better and better, as an individual, and just, more or less like work towards being the best version of myself that I can be. And I suppose as long as I'm working on that, I don't feel lonely. Instead, I guess I sort of feel a sense of pride and stuff like that. But you guys still with me? My phone just went dim all of a sudden, so I think we're good. The clock's still going. Maybe I better plug it in. Actually, it could be the battery. Let's do that. I don't want to lose you guys. All right, let's give that a go. Oh, thanks, Wanderer. Appreciate the super sticker, buddy. Thanks for the super chat, man. Yeah, Alberta Schoolie Adventures. Meditation is a great way to deep dive into the other side of myself. Exactly. Like, I used to have a pretty solid meditation practice, and probably be diving into that a bit more this summer. Like, I just want to unplug, do some more yoga, do some more meditation, and slow down a little bit. And I realize, like, I've worked really hard to be able to do that, and I feel like I can afford to do that this summer, so that's what I'm going to go do, because I really feel drawn to that as being something that I need to do at this point in my life. So, and of course, I'm gonna share all this, guys. I'm gonna be taking you guys along for that journey. So that's the one thing that's the one commitment I am keeping. So yeah. Insanity, you're asking if I have issues with dampness inside. Like, I do. There's it's a fully windowed van, so in the mornings I wake up and it's very typical for my front windows to have condensation on the inside. So I typically either run my diesel heater for quite a while to clear that out. But if I have to get up and go somewhere, I just have to turn the van on and let it run for a little while and let the defrost HVAC part of that system clear the window. And then usually that takes about 5 minutes or so, and then I can take off at that point. Yeah, but I keep things pretty tight when it's cold out. Like, I keep my windows open a crack, but not a lot. And in the summertime, though, like, this thing's vented out a lot more. Like, I have the windows down more, I have my max air fan usually wide open, and I'm venting it out a lot more. So, but inside the van, I haven't noticed like any mold or anything like that in here. There was one point where underneath my mattress, I had some moisture develop under there, but I put that hypervent material underneath my mattress, and that's made a big difference. It gets a little moist under there, but it tends to manage it way better. So there's no accumulation, I should say. At least nothing that I've seen. So it's I'd say things are pretty good so far. But it's a wet part of the country. It's like BC is a wet place. The air is damp and wet, and so it's something you deal with a lot. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Wildflower wind. You say you're alone and getting lonely. So it's a tricky thing. Like, I mean, yeah, it's complicated. I'm not even experienced enough to really talk about the subject so much. I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, I want to say something positive and something good that's useful for you, so that you can work with it. And I'd say, really, I suppose the best thing is cultivating a relationship with yourself, a healthy relationship with yourself, And I think loneliness comes most often when we look for a validation about ourselves, when we're looking outside of ourselves for somebody to validate us, to let us know that we're loved and we're cared for, or we're valued, and that sort of thing. And usually that comes from behaviors that we learn when we're kids, with our relationship with our families and our friends and people that we go to school with at a young age. And it's kind of systemic. Like, so much social media even right now is very much directed at like looking for that self-validation outside of yourself. And I was thinking about this the other day, even with like myself and the comments and all that sort of stuff, and thumbs ups and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, I this is a bit of a tangent. I have to be careful I don't lose track of where I started off with this conversation, because I want to follow up with you, Shannon, on that loneliness bit. Should I go there? It's like, I'll go there just for a moment. A while back, I was talking about negative comments on my channel and how they affected me. And people receiving negativity anywhere is going to be difficult. And in a social media setting, you're putting yourself out there and someone's crapping on you. And it's, sometimes that can push your buttons in certain things, but that's also, in a way, those things come back as being things that you could look at and grow and learn from. And on the other hand, it's like, how much of myself, like the question came up, was like, how much of myself am I putting myself out there? And I don't think I'm doing this, but I was like, I got to be careful I don't go over this line. But if I start validating myself based on the positive feedback that I get on the channel, and let's say I'm putting out a video just so that I can get that positive affirmations, then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons and it becomes unhealthy. And I think in a lot of social media situations, and possibly even real life situations, is sometimes we act because we want to get validation from others. So we do something that's not really authentic, be it a particular behavior or nuance or total activity that we're not really into, but we're doing it because we want to earn the favor from somebody else. We're kind of wasting our time. And in a sense, it really doesn't go anywhere positive. The whole thing's kind of fake, and you're putting on a mask to do that, and then you're not really making a positive relationship with someone that you would otherwise make if you were being authentic. And if you're authentic, then you're going to be making relationships with yourself that's more holistic and something you can lean into. And that's the important part, is just being authentic so you can be comfortable with who you are and love yourself and be gentle with yourself. And that's really the investment that you need to make in order to not feel lonely. But it can be hard when you've invested so much of your life and perhaps a pattern of living, in that you're at this position where you become almost dependent on that outward validation coming in so that you do feel good about yourself. And it just makes it a little bit more difficult to grow out of that, because you really need to do that from within, and you need to do that for yourself. And it means that, maybe you're gonna shake things up with the relationships that you have in your life, and slowly start to realize what the healthy ones are, and what the ones are that are just not really helping you, or that sort of thing. It's about getting real, and that means being vulnerable too. So anyway, that's there's a whole lot to say on that subject. But yeah, Shannon, just with loneliness, I would say invest in yourself, be honest with yourself, and be gentle with yourself, and just take small steps and do that. And yeah, if you do something and you enjoy it, do that. And don't let it, somebody else say that's weird, or you shouldn't do that, or anything like that. YouTube is an amazing place. I mean, If you go out there, you can look up and see just about all kinds of weirdos that are out there that have thousands of followers, and they just do their thing. And for some people they'd be like, that's totally weird, I wouldn't be friends with that person. But they have thousands of people that see it exactly the same way, and they love them. So anyway, it's definitely a project. Working on yourself and working through all that stuff's pretty big bit of work, but take it at one step at a time. Wow, that was cool talking about that. Guys, I'm just catching up on some of this stuff. Yeah, Shannon's asking, do I have anxiety or anxiety attacks? I don't know if I've had an anxiety attack. I mean, and I think that's totally normal response too if someone has an anxiety attack. I do have anxiety for certain things, and I think everyone to some extent has that. I just got a cramp in my foot, you guys. I'm just trying to work that out. Should probably drink a little bit more water, actually. That's probably what that means. And it's empty. Yeah, anxiety is pretty interesting. Sorry about that. Crinkly plastic bottle. It's probably time for a new one of those. A little bit of a tangent here, but that's these bottles. I buy them locally, and I usually refill this after buying it like a good 10 or 20 times, and then after that I usually recycle it and get a brand new one. So I just don't want to use it too much, because I know plastic, as it ages and stuff, it probably releases more stuff. But one of the costs of living in a van, and there's other options out there, but those fit really nicely right in behind my seat, so that's what I use those. But yeah, anxiety, Shannon, anxiety's basically like it's like fear. It's a clue. It kind of lets you know about something within yourself that you probably don't have a clear or good relationship with. And in a way, it's kind of useful in that way, because it means it's coming up because there's something inside that you maybe don't even feel fully comfortable about with yourself, and somehow you've learned that through your life, through your interactions with peers in the playground when you're a kid, or your parents, and you develop this behavior of dealing with it. And so you behave a certain way. You probably don't even realize it, but you probably have like a pattern of action that you kind of play out, and then respond to it in the world, and that works for you. As you get older, that becomes less useful, and so that anxiety sort of becomes more and more evident. And then eventually you got to face it. You got to deal with it, and it's better to face it earlier than later. And but if you face it later, that's no big deal either. I mean, you can face it when you face it, and that's fine too, or not at all. So some people never face that sort of stuff. There's a book that I'd recommend. Duane and Catherine O'Kane, they were the authors of it. So remember this: Duane and Catherine O'Kane, like O, and then I think it's apostrophe Keene or something like that. They were my teachers in the counseling program. They wrote a book called Real Connections or something like that. Their foundation is called Clear Mind. You can look them up. They got some stuff that really goes into that stuff. That's, for me, was probably the most useful bit of information and experience and knowledge was learning from those guys. It helped me to get into all this stuff and really work through it. And then my relationship with myself is only getting better because of it. So check them out. Thanks, Wanderer. Oh, thanks, buddy. Happy birthday. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow, man. I didn't really feel like I should do a live stream tomorrow. I don't know. I felt like doing it today. Even though I put a video out today, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this because it's Easter, right? And I think for most people, at least in North America, like I don't know, there's Easter egg hunts going on all over the place. Although my daughter did hers yesterday, so she's a day ahead. So yeah, and then there's Easter dinner and all that stuff, and some people don't do anything. Like I didn't really do much. I just had an Easter egg with my daughter, and that was it. It was really good actually. Yeah. I'm just catching up, you guys. CS, are you related to Jordan Peterson? No, I'm not. I came by some of his stuff. I learned about him. Well, I learned about him in the last couple of years, actually. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, you should listen to this guy," and I listened to him, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, wow, man! Like he's like he's so well thought out, that individual." And yeah, I mean, the stuff he was talking about was on par with all that stuff that I was learning from these guys through the Clear Mind project, and I was just like, that it all made total sense. I love listening to Jordan Peterson. He's wonderful. I'm not related to him. I'm sure he would be a great person to have a conversation with. If I ever had the opportunity to have a coffee with him or something like that, that'd be awesome too. Yeah, but I enjoy listening to him. I don't listen to him a lot, but I listen to him every now and then. Yeah. Man. Oh, guys, appreciate you guys, the moderators in here. Appreciate you helping out. I'm making you a moderator, Insanity. There you go. Thanks, buddy. And oh, there we go. Mark, you're now a moderator too. There you go. I'm just making a bunch of you guys little moderators here. Fisher Van. There you go. Oh man. Lee Black, trying to get you to respond. Are you sending me some stuff, Lee Black? Oh yeah, you're an old man. Here, I'm catching up on your stuff. So any of you guys that want to send me a chat, comment in the chat, and like really, oh, Michaela's back there. She's wandering around on her crutches. She sprained her ankle this past weekend, so she's taking it easy. Yeah, if you guys want to understand the way the chat works a little bit, if you use the @ symbol, like what you'd see in an email address, and then you go sharing the wild, and then you type your comment, it sort of makes it a little bit more visible for me to see that. And if you don't do that, then sometimes I might skip over it and stuff like that. And I don't even get to see all that stuff either. But yeah, that might help. Yeah. Oh, okay. Knight, you're asking, am I planning on upgrading to a van like forestry? I don't think I'm gonna go to the more like the box fan, like the Chevy Express or the E, the Ford E series vans. I like them. They're great. But I mean, the Chevy Express is still being made. I don't know the layout of it as much. I was, and how well received it is in the mechanical world. The engineering, I haven't really gone under and really like scoped it out so much. I've looked a bit on the Fords and sort of see the layout and those things, and it's pretty good. But I've had some chats with Chrome, and he was saying that the E Series vans, there's a lot of mechanics that kind of like they tend to steer away from them. They don't really want to work on those vans because everything is just so busy underneath the hood, and it's really hard to do anything. You really, to struggle with it, and a lot of mechanics, would rather not deal with it. And I feel like there's some aspects about my van that are also that way, where some mechanics just don't want to deal with it and stuff. So I don't know. And then those vans, I would think, are not going to get a tremendously great gas mileage. I do, they're really expensive. They got a very high cost to them initially, and there are some things about them that can be expensive, but I do really like some of the engineering, I should say most of the engineering that's within the Sprinter vans. And I'm looking over this way because I'm just looking at Nick's Sprinter van, which is sitting right there. And I'm getting a lot of time to spend working on that thing. And I like those. I've crawled underneath them. I've looked at them. I've looked at the Ford Transits. I've looked at the Dodge ProMasters, and there's good things to be said about all of them. And I like these ones. The one thing about the Sprinters that I don't like, and this one is a huge red flag for me, and that's most of them that I see, they get rust on them, on the bodies within 5 or 6 years, and that's deeply concerning. So at this point in time, I don't know. Like I'm just gonna use this van for a while, and who knows? Maybe something better comes out soon. Maybe these guys fix the paint or something like that. It's probably a paint issue. And maybe that whole rust thing's already taken care of at this point. I don't know, but it does leave an impression when you see that sort of stuff on the road. And I've seen a lot of rusty Sprinter vans that just rust out really quickly, and I'm like, those are super expensive vans, and if they rust out like that, that's no good at all. So it's really no good. I mean, some of these things are in Canada. A 4x4 like Nick's, if you were to buy one brand new, it's $100,000 brand new. That's an absurd amount of money. It's different looking at it like that if you're like, oh, it's going to be my house, and if I were to buy a house around these parts, it's going to be probably $700,000 or $800,000 for a condo, basically. And personally, I mean, I'd rather spend the money on a Sprinter van. Either way, I don't have the money for either of those right now. So I can only think about that stuff, and I feel like I'm going to spend some time in my van just really thinking about another van, and really just taking my time doing a lot of research, and I'll probably arrive at a better conclusion and stuff in time. So yeah, but and maybe there'll be bigger, better vans out there in 4 or 5 years. So yeah, Susan Scoville, Russ is big on Mercedes. So are the maintenance costs. Well, the maintenance costs are interesting. So I've been in Dodge vehicles for the last couple, like maybe 6 years or so, and I was in Mercedes before that. Mercedes, and before that, I was kind of like, okay, this is what it is, and I was just paying for the Mercedes costs and stuff. When I got into my Dodge vehicles and stuff, it was the same price as maintenance. Like the Dodge dealerships and all that, they were advertising, oh, everything's going to be cheaper and stuff. I had my Jeep Wrangler for a while. The maintenance on my Jeep Wrangler was more than it was slightly less, I should say, than what my friend was paying on his Mercedes G55, which is a G wagon, which was almost a $150,000 vehicle, and he was paying just a little bit more on the maintenance on that thing, and it was a way better vehicle. So I don't know. I mean, I've compared apples to oranges sometimes, and I sort of see like, well, I mean, an oil change on a Sprinter's, $400, and an oil change on this thing is $150, but that's every 35,000 kilometers, and I'm doing mine at every 7,000 kilometers. It's cheaper to do an oil change on a Sprinter. Plus, his gas mileage on that thing is 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers, and mine's 17.5 liters. He gets almost double, and it's a huge van. He gets better gas mileage than I do. So I feel like I've got, cheap van that I bought, and it's great. I love it, but it kind of costs me more money to operate it, I feel like. But that initial cost, that's out of reach for me right now. And doing that with potentially something that could rust out really badly in 10 years, it's also not very attractive. I don't know, there's a lot to think about. I'd say, if you're getting into van life and you're thinking about getting a rig or something, like, you don't have to get crazy with the van build. I know I did a real, fancy build out on mine. I just needed to do that for me. But part of it was learning, part of it was just satisfying the space that I wanted to have on the inside. And I was willing to spend some time and money to put it together. So, yeah. Oh, Wanderer, thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate that, buddy. You're my favorite, so wise. I can listen to you all day. I hope your birthday has been amazing. Really appreciate that, buddy. Well, you really helped to make my birthday amazing, buddy. Thanks a lot. That's so awesome. Oh man, really appreciate that. This is a great way to spend a birthday. Hanging out with you guys and doing that. It's good. I love doing this. And by the way, I was chatting about meetups on my last live stream, and I talked about the vulnerable side of myself that's sort of uncomfortable with some of that stuff. But ever since that conversation, I've been thinking more and more about it, and I was like, I should probably do a meetup at some point. So I'm gonna do one at some point, you guys. So you'll have to stay tuned. I'll do a meetup here at some point in it, and then I'll probably do other meetups after that. So I'm going to work myself up to that position. Yeah. It'll be fun. Yeah. Oh, you're saying, okay, Susan, going back to the Sprinter, one of the maintenance costs around $50,000 will cost over $4,000. I don't know. You might have to elaborate on that one, Susan. Maintenance costs around $50,000 will cost over $4,000. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, Wildflower win $700,000 for a condo. I mean, I'm talking about like, I was in Vancouver, so Vancouver prices. I don't know what it's like here in Victoria, but yeah, pretty well. Real expensive. Well. Anyway. Yeah, Crash Organism, you're saying, I'd be hitting Ford as the parts you can generally get off the shelf anywhere in the world. Totally agree with you on that point. Like, especially in North America, like Ford parts are easily, you can get them. They're not crazy, as far as price goes. Some of them can be kind of expensive, but from people I've talked to in North America, that side of it's pretty attractive. And there's a lot of different shops that can work on the vehicle, so that is attractive. I was chatting with John from J5 Custom Vans because he's owned a Mercedes Sprinter and he's owned a Ford Transit. He was saying the gas mileage in the Transit was terrible by comparison. And he says, the Mercedes, he liked it, appreciated it more because it was far better on fuel. So it's kind of weird because like all these costs kind of even out anyway. I feel like it's like it it costs money to live in a van. It's not a get out of jail free card. Um, it's arguably cheaper than living in a house, I suppose, and or being a homeowner for that matter. Um, and it's a different lifestyle. You you kind of have to do it for the right reasons. Like, I mean, you can get into it to save some money, I suppose, and in a way, I kind of did that. But then I really appreciated all these great things about it, and I love it. Like, I love being able to move and be in a different place and stuff like that. But there are times where it's kind of sucky. Like, it's not fun living in the van when you're going into an area that you want to go explore, but there's this kind of stigma against van life, and you don't feel particularly welcome there. That makes it more challenging because you know, there's a few spots that I know of that are like that, and because of that, I don't really visit those areas very much. And it's sort of too bad because, you know, there's a lot of really cool things that those places have to offer, and it'd be nice to visit there. It'd be nice to spend some money there. So if I were there, they'd be getting some of my money at least. But I think they've just had a lot of run-ins with negative experiences and stuff like that, and eventually some communities just, you know, shut it down. And you know, there is sort of that edgier side of van life and that sort of thing that, you know, has an impact on that whole thing. But yeah, that's everywhere. You can't get away from it. And there's just, you know, it's just yeah. Yeah, thanks, Stuart. Really appreciate it. Stuart Lee. Joseph, thanks for the heads up on the different vans. It's all really important information. Best wishes from Australia. You know, it'd be really cool. Like, I mean, I'd love to, I'd love, I'd almost love to be a part of, I could be, it'd be, I don't see a manufacturer doing this, but if a manufacturer was like, we want to build a vehicle that van lifers are going to love, and it would be perfect for van conversions, and we're going to go out there and reach out to a bunch of, you know, van lifers and get some real feedback from them so that we can come up with a good design. Like, I'd love to be a part of that and be like, well, here's some tips, you know. So but yeah, I mean, I would almost want to re-engineer at least the body portion of the vehicle so that insulation is not as troublesome for a van lifer, because the way these bodies are built, like there's these little pockets like this, like with all this weird stuff and everything's like spot welded together. You can't get into stuff like this, you know, with insulation very well. You can stuff it with spray foam like what I did, or you can maybe stuff some polyester and stuff in there, but other than that, it's blind. You're not getting into there. You're not going to do any inspections later. So if something isn't working in your build, you're not, and there's rust forming in there, you're not going to see it until it shows up on the outside of the body. And at that point, you're like, well now it's a huge project, and well, that's no good. And I kind of draw back on like the aviation industry because they don't do that kind of construction in an airplane. They build, like, they use sheet metal and they make like a rib, but the rib is exposed on all sides, so you can get in there, pull the insulation out, and inspect the entire thing for corrosion. And it'd be really cool if a van was built that way for van life or something like that, and you could pull apart your build and go in and look in everywhere and be like, oh, okay, we need to service this area. And it'd be easy to service because it's sheet metal, and it's like, okay, well, we'll cut out this patch, we'll put in a new one. Maybe it's riveted like an airplane, I don't know. But it's a little bit more approachable. Whereas you get all this weird, funky stuff that's built into cars and stuff. It's, I mean, it's, I don't know. It becomes really expensive to work with that sort of stuff. Too difficult, and so you write it off eventually. And I suppose in the car manufacturing business, that's good because it's cheaper to build it that way, and then, you know, it all gets scrapped eventually, and then they want you to buy a new car in 10 years anyway. So you don't want to build something that's too good, kind of thing. But mind you, those airplanes, I mean, I don't think they get more than 10-20 years out of them either before they have to put them on the ground. But that's a whole different industry though. But yeah, there are some cool things about the aviation industry that you know, van life could benefit from and stuff like that. And, you know, a company that was manufacturing a vehicle or something like that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Leslie Hughes. Leslie Hughes is writing this. I've been in a long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter for years now. She is solid, and I know that I can expect her to do 500,000 kilometers before she looks to be having a serious health issues. Well, that's great, man. So I guess you're not having any body rust issues. I don't know. Like, I know the contractors can be real hard on their equipment, and a lot of these vans are used by contractors and delivery food companies and stuff like that, and they just put them through the paces. And often, like, this is where the van life community comes in and buys one of those things. It's got some miles on it, and then they go and build out a home on it. But it's been used and abused a lot. But no, I'm curious, Leslie, if how yours is going. I know the engines in them are great. If you take care of them, they're going to last a long time and stuff. So, but that's really cool to hear that. Thank you. I've heard other Mercedes owners say the same things, but I've also heard some Mercedes owners who bought like used ones or stuff like that, and other ones have just had some bad stories to say. But I don't know. The thing is you got to do your maintenance, and you got to look after your vehicle, and everything wears out. You know, even going down back roads can be just murder on a vehicle, because it's fun, but there's a lot of weight, and you're going over all these bumps and stuff. And I know my van just takes a beating with this stuff too, and it's all the bushings, the suspension components, the linkages, like all of that stuff is like, it's all joint work, and some of it you lubricate and some of it you don't. You just have rubber bushings. All that stuff wears out, and so you have to replace that stuff. And there's so much down there. A lot of people never take care of that stuff, never do anything with it. But that, you know, you can also look after that from the beginning, and, you know, not stress your vehicle out a lot. It'll last you a lot longer. Yeah. Just catching up, you guys, on a few things. Hey, mom, my mom's in here. Hey, mom. I see you in there. Right on. I'm slowly eating my dandelion and yogurt dish. That's it. It's really good. Oh yeah, tool video, you guys. So I haven't made the tool video yet. I'm going to be doing a tool video here soon. I just been thinking about it, and I want to do it so it's a decent video. So I'm trying to do a lot of premeditation on it and stuff like that. But that's going to come up, and I've been slowing down a little bit because I'm been chatting with a couple different angles and stuff like that, and I'm trying to work out some kind of sponsorship or collaboration or something like that with some tool company. I was really trying for Milwaukee, but so far I'm not getting through to them. So I already have a lot of their stuff anyway, but anyway, I'll probably discuss some of their stuff on there. It'd just be kind of fun to get a little bit more kickback from that. That's, you know, that company or something. They do make good tools, but I'm going to be doing a tool video coming up, and I'm going to try and share some real practical stuff about building a van, and what kind of tools you would want to have for that, and then what kind of tools you would want to have living in a van home or something, being on the road and that sort of thing. So I am excited about that. It is not something I've filmed yet, but it's coming up. Happy Easter, you guys. I see some more people tuning in here saying Happy Easter. And thanks for the birthday wishes too, you guys. Super fun. Yeah. Oh, man. Man, you guys, man, thanks so much for all the love in here. Like, I'm not even keeping up with everything, but I love it. And I love you guys, and I hope you're all having a really good time out there. I know some of you, like Shannon and stuff, are working through some loneliness and stuff like that. So peace be with you guys and all that sort of thing too. Yeah, it's sort of like the ups and downs of life and stuff, and there's good times and there's some, you know, challenging times and stuff like that too. Wheeler Security, mushrooms. Yes, I've been thinking about mushrooms. I don't know, that's all you wrote, but yes, I've been thinking about mushrooms. Oh. Leslie Hughes, coming back about his Sprinter van, he's saying mine is an ex-rental from tourism in the industry, and she has had 2 little spots tiny on the slider. Okay, yeah. So that, yeah, I think you're talking about the door slide for the sliding door. Nick's has got a little bit of rust right there, and Mark and I were looking at it the other day. I think Mark had a discussion with Nick about it. I think they're going to try to get on top of that in some manner. So that'd be really interesting to see, and see how they go about that. But there's a little spot like that on Nick's van, and there's a couple little spots. It's mostly on his brow, like right up at the front above his windshield. There's some rust and stuff up there. And I don't know if that's just from rocks. It's probably from rocks flying up and hitting the paint and chipping it off, and then it's just working out to be a rust spot. It is a big, broad brow on a vehicle, and you don't normally see such an exposed piece of paint, like, except for a hood of a vehicle, but those are fairly flat, whereas this is, you know, more susceptible to hard impacts and stuff like that from rocks. So it might have something to do with that. Like, maybe just, like, someone in here was talking about tyro coatings and stuff. It might be something of, like, just putting that extra protection on that part of the van so that you know, can take a little bit of more abuse from the road and stuff like that. It's probably a good idea to do that to any van, because I got some rock chips on, just in this last year on my paint jobs, that there's just raw metal underneath. I got to deal with those. Yeah, very good thing to do. If you guys get a nice newer van and stuff like that, I'd probably do a little bit of extra coating up in the front. If you can, you know, catch that and do that ahead of time, that'd be great. Just kind of preserve things, get the most use out of this stuff, really. I mean, it's important. Dutch fly fisherman, good to see you, man. You're asking, what about refrigerated vans? They come fully insulated. Yeah, like those box trucks. Yeah, or I know there's other vans like transit vans and sprinter vans that are also done that way too. So yeah, that's great. I mean, the job's kind of done for you. Hopefully it's you know, it's good. It's Yeah, I was talking earlier, I don't know if you were on the live stream, just about how, like, in vans and a lot of modern cars and stuff, there's all this weird molded metal work, and it's all spot welded together, so it creates these like voids and stuff that you can't get into. So if anything does start rusting in there, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but it's also not really easy to service, and you don't really see that stuff until it's kind of too late and it's already coming through really badly. And at that point, it gets, you know, the vehicle's usually quite old, and then you're trying to find replacement metal from scrap yards, and all the other vehicles of that age are kind of suffering the same things, or not, like you get lucky and stuff like that. But yeah, it's I mean, it's always something to do. But yeah, insulation, man, insulation. Raven, you're in a van. You've got your 2000 Dodge Ram van runs smoother than ever, and how it now has 159,000 miles on it. So that's good. Mine's up to 285 kilometers, and that is and that's 177,000 miles. So just to convert that for you guys there working in the imperial system. Yeah. Oh, some of you guys are fishing for my mom to share other tidbits about me and my birthdays or birthday memories. I'm sure she's definitely got some stories for sure. The Fisher van, October pine mushrooms and Gold River chanterelle mushrooms, good there too. I was just chatting with Nick about pine mushrooms. He was asking me because he's looking to do a little bit more mushroom picking and stuff, and I learned a lot of my mushroom picking mostly through a friend of mine that does it, and he was saying that for pine mushrooms you kind of have to be careful because you're usually picking them as they're like little buttons and they're just coming up. But he says there's another mushroom that's poisonous that looks just like them as it's at that stage of its life cycle. But once it matures, it looks differently. But at that point, you can mix them up, and you don't want to do that. So because of that, I've kind of just stayed away from them, and I've seen what I thought are pine mushrooms, but I was just like, I don't know for sure. So I'm just going to leave them be. And chanterelles have a look-alike as well. That's toxic as well, but it's like I don't know, it's similar, but you can discern the difference, and I know how to do that. Yeah, and I think morel mushrooms are kind of like that coral looking thing. I don't There's some false morels too, I believe. I don't know if those, I don't know. There's still a lot for me to learn about mushroom picking, but I'd like to get some morels. I really do want to go for some morels. There was last year, I was up near Squamish. I drove up this really, really gnarly road to this place I just absolutely love, and I'd love to go back there this year. I don't know if I'll make it. Like that getting up that hill was really tough. But if I could get up there, there was a fire up there last year in the fall, so it's possible. It's fairly remote too, so I might be the only guy that goes out there, or I don't know, maybe not. It's pretty close to Vancouver, so but it'd be kind of one place to go check out and see if there's any morels up there. I don't know. Maybe I go on a road trip. We'll see. Yeah, a little bit of a road trip. The hunt for the mushrooms. Oh, thanks, Cam. I love you, Cam. And thanks for the coffee too, Kim, by the way. I've been enjoying that gift card. And I got one from Kalani too. I haven't seen Kalani in here today, but Kalani, if you're watching this on a repeat, thanks for the gift card too. Guy sent me some gift cards for Tim Hortons. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Paul. A little late on following up on this one. Paul Davis, thanks for that super chat. Appreciate it, buddy, from London, UK. Thank you very much. Hmm. 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 Leslie Hughes. We Sprinter owners are called sliders here in New Zealand. We park beside the big flash motorhomes. That's pretty funny, man. All right, so you're in New Zealand. Um, so that's good to know too. I wonder. I wonder if you're. Yeah, I wonder. I don't know how the manufacturing works. Like I know Sprinter or sorry, Mercedes bought Dodge. This was a while ago. They bought Dodge. This was their way to get into the North American market with their Sprinter vans and stuff. They bought Dodge and they got Dodge to manufacture Sprinter vans here in North America. And then they branded them all Dodge and stuff like that. And I think they had to do that for a number of years before they sold Dodge. And then Dodge, I think, was sold to Fiat. Um, and now Mercedes has established themselves in this market where they can just bring them over their finished Sprinter builds and have them all branded Mercedes. So, but that being said, I wonder if some of these manufacturers have different spec requirements or specifications in terms of when they build them out. Like if you live in a different country, do you get a different quality vehicle? Are there some differences? I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know. Well, that was really loud. Oh, Crash Organism. Thanks, buddy. He just signed up to my Patreon. Right on, buddy. I got your notification. Thanks, dude. Well, now you get a little bit more up to date on my more up to date stuff. I try to keep up to date on my Patreon. So if you guys go on a Patreon, you'll kind of get a little bit more up to date updates where I'm at currently, and in that way you kind of have a little bit more real time feedback as to what I'm up to and that sort of thing. I'm not always active on there. Like I do try to post, but sometimes if I get tied up in a bunch of boring stuff for a while and I'm sitting in one place for a while, I usually don't post anything because it's pretty quiet and stuff like that and there's not much to share. But yeah, but yeah, it's fun nevertheless. Yeah, you got busted, buddy. uh, oh yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, just saying please I was able to up my amount. Thanks. I got to go in there and actually do some maintenance on my Patreon. I got to set it up so that you can sign up for annual if you wanted to do that, and I haven't done that yet. I should do that maybe this week. Tennis Power, you should probably know by now. I just signed up to your Patreon 2 days ago. You're my second, and Mark was my first. Oh, thanks, Dennis. Yeah, I did see you on there too. I think it was one of those times where I got the notification and I was like kind of like half asleep or something. I was just kind of like, oh, sometimes I leave my phone on and it does that. But thank you, appreciate that, Dennis. Yeah, I should probably share some more stuff on there on my Patreon. Oh, thanks, Susan. Um, Happy Easter to you too. Oh, thanks so much. Oh, wicked. Really appreciate that, Susan. Thank you so much. Mad RX, sharing the carpentry. Yeah. Don't know what you mean by that, Mad RX, but I mean sharing the wild, sharing the carpentry. Definitely, I'm sharing the carpentry with Nick's fan build for sure. Yeah, it's coming together. I'm feeling pretty good about Nick's van. To be honest, like there's times where I'm kind of frustrated a little bit because I he's already started it and he's worked on it. Another guy's worked on it. Like there's other and I'm working on it, and I have to kind of check in with myself sometimes because I'm like uh, I'll I'll come up against something that's not square, and I'm like, I gotta fix this. And it's kind of like it bugs me, but I fix it anyway. Usually I'm like, Nick, I need to spend some more time on this because this is at a square. So do you want to do this or do this? And so we kind of work it out, but it's coming together quite nice. Um, but yeah, it's a pleasure to work on. It's I can stand up in that thing as I work on it. I love that so much. And because it's a 4x4, I'm looking at it, guys. It sits quite high up off the ground, so it's really easy for me to crawl in underneath it, and access things from below too. And there's going to be some fancy stuff about his van too. Like he's got that shower in there, so we got to put in this whole hot water heater system, which is pretty neat. So it'll be kind of neat to cover that sort of stuff. I mean, it's different. Like he's building it out as a recreational vehicle, not to live in this thing full time, but to go and do extended trips on and stuff like that. So they're putting things in there that I wouldn't put in there, but it makes total sense for putting it in there for smaller trips and stuff like that, like a full shower, which is nice. But if I was living in the van full time, personally, I probably wouldn't have a shower in a van unless it was like it had some multiple purpose to it and stuff like that. Although the thing about having a shower, full shower in the van, is that I like is he can go out and do something and come back totally soaking wet and hang up all his gear in the shower, and it dries and everything drips right down in the shower tray. It just goes right out. None of that gets into the house, and that's pretty cool because there's been some times where I've been out there out hunting, usually hunting, where I come back and I'm pretty wet and everything's pretty wet, and I usually, like, the inside of my van has got stuff hanging all over it in every corner, and I got the heater going, and it dries out, but it's something to manage. It's different. And if any of you guys, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and there you go, wildflower win. My van would have to have a shower and a toilet, and they have a toilet in their shower too. So, yeah. Although basically it's a very fancy bucket that uses a bag and a pee bottle. So at the end of the day, it's my bucket, and that's my pee bottle. So that's my toilet, and this is also my garbage bin too. So doubles up. And I don't sit on that thing, by the way. I kind of have to squat over that. So that's that. Mm-hmm. All right. Hang on a sec, guys. Let me just catch up on something. I was commenting. So, Raven, I'm not sure if you did that on purpose, but I guess you hid my mom on the channel, so I just made sure she was unhidden. Uh, anyway, we sorted that out. It's pretty easy. So if you guys are a moderator on the channel, I guess you have the ability to hide someone on the channel. So yeah. Anyway, well, if there's some abuse of that power, I'm certainly gonna take it away. But Raven, I don't know. I'm assuming you just pressed the wrong button because I've known you for a long time. Anyway, it's all sorted out now. Yeah, don't hide mama. Hopefully that hasn't happened before, where that happened by mistake and somebody was hidden, where it was just kind of unfortunate that they got hidden and I just missed it. So that being said, I thought about this a long time ago. I think there's probably about 50 or so people that are in there that are hidden from the channel. And some of them are really abusive, and I just had to hide them for sure. But I was thinking of unhiding everybody in there. Of course, then I could open up this like storm of crud. But there's probably some good people in there too that maybe are in there that shouldn't be in there. So maybe I'll do that at one point and just kind of clean house and reset and sort of start over or something like that. Give everyone a second chance. Oh yeah, there you go, Raven. I bumped something in the van, so good Lord, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm trying to drive, and every time I pull over and I take a peek on here, sorry. Oh, there you go. Raven, what are you doing driving? I hope you're just listening to me. Oh, there's Nick. Hello, sir. I'm going to say hi to YouTube.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey, everyone's pretty good.
Should I post that gasoline heater? What do you think? What are you thinking in your head? Or should I wait a little bit? You need more time.
Oh, I mean, you could post it for sure. I mean, it's a lot of work for me to take mine out of me and out of my van, and I wouldn't. We're talking about a heater, you guys. Nick has got a Webasto gasoline heater, and he wants a diesel heater.
I chatted with the guys in the UK at Heatzo, which is a great heater shop, and they said normally we don't put gasoline heaters in boats, which is what I want to do. They said it's safe, or not safe, sorry. So anyway, I'm thinking about switching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I could talk about it a bit more, but...
Okay, well, I'll hold off for a bit. I'm just putting everything together here in this box,
okay.
so... Well, I won't do anything. I'll wait.
It's a lot of work. But then, yeah, you'd have a diesel heater and you'd be set to go. And
you'd be set to go, yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to drop my fuel tank and tap it. And
well, I'd actually help you with it. I wouldn't just say that I was going to help you with it.
We need to put this van up on a lift, and there's only one place in this island that I know for sure I'd be able to do that.
Well, what about ramps and then, like in the front, and then just jack stands in the back?
We can probably build some ramps. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
jack stands, yeah.
Or we go to John's and just put it up.
The thing about this van is the rocker panels are crushed where they're crushed, so I can't put it on jack stands the way that it's kind of meant to go. And those points are never really meant to be jack stand points anyway. But where you do put jack stands on this van, it's too close to the center point, and the whole build weight is pretty heavy. It just feels really unsafe, and I don't feel confident putting my van on jack stands. Well, but a ramp that we drive up on.
You have to go back to John's anyway, right? So we could just do that and put the fuel filler on there.
I don't have to, but any excuse to go back to John's and get another dinner.
Yeah,
Louise would be great.
Yeah. Maybe Michaela and I would going to get a free dinner and be like, hey, we're going to use your shop, and can you cook us dinner?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we'll wait. I mean, that might work out well. I don't know. Okay, we'll just wait. I'll give you time to think about it because
Alright.
then I don't have to go buy a brand new heater. I mean, I don't mind doing that, but I mean, it's going to cost like 2 G's basically. So,
Yeah.
which is I don't necessarily need to spend that.
No. Well, the one I've got is, well, I like it, but yeah, it might not be enough. I don't know. Let's talk about it some more. You should probably I mean, before you make that decision, you should probably have a look at the Spartans too over at Trotec.
Yeah,
They were pretty impressive heaters and really
I wonder what I
quiet.
could sell this one for. Probably with all those bits, like two grand, probably.
I don't know. You might be able to sell that heater. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well we'll see.
Okay. Sounds,
Can I break the news about Monday, or is that not allowed?
Oh, I already broke the news. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's Joseph's birthday on Monday. Be generous.
Next take me out for dinner. Funny, I can see him. Oh, okay. It looks like he's still standing there on my computer screen, but he's not there anymore. It's kind of weird, because I guess the computer's playing a lag. Insanity. I'm surprised he doesn't want the Webasto. All right, so I guess what I'll talk about it a little bit. Nick got he got a couple Webasto heaters a while ago, and he put one in his van, which is a diesel Webasto heater, and works great. Everything's totally fine about it. He got a gas version of it as well, and he was like, excuse me, he was asking me if I was interested in it, and I was kind of like, well, I like the idea of it, but it was missing a few parts. And so he had to order the parts to kind of complete the kit. And one of them was this little part that goes on the end of the fuel pump. And it's just, I don't know the backstory of this heater. It was sitting in some shop somewhere, and he got it for a good deal. So it's hard to know what the story is behind it. So if I were to put that in my van, I would want to make sure that it actually works, first of all. But there is an attraction to it because it is gas, and my van is gas. It means I wouldn't have to have that bag of diesel fuel down here in my kitchen, and I'd have a little bit more space to put some stand-up things like olive oil and stuff. But it means I got to drop my fuel tank. I got to uninstall the heater, install that one. It's a bit of a job, and to be honest, I don't like, why fix something that already, if it's not broke, don't fix it, because my current heater works really well. So I've been deliberating over that, and he was like, okay, well, I'm going to put it in my boat, because his boat is a gas boat, and then he's since found out that he can't put that heater in his boat, so he's back to square one and looking at maybe letting that go. So we might do a trade where I'll give him my Plan R, and I'll put the Webasto in here. So that's that. And I'm a little bit nervous about it, but Emmy and Chrome both have a Webasto gas heater in their vans, and they're fine. It would be really nice for me, just have one fuel source, and I just go put gas in the van, and it covers my heater and all that stuff at the same time. That'd be really neat. So, what do you guys think? Share your thoughts on that. I am curious. Okay, the great spoon. I've been running a gasoline S bar before for the last 4 years, no problems. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Yeah, Nick could definitely find someone on the channel. Nick is I mean, I don't honestly think he's gonna give it away, but he did buy it, so he had to buy all those parts for it, so it'd be something he would sell. But if and it's tricky. I can't really sell anything on YouTube, so I wouldn't really be able to sell this for him on here. But that, yeah, and I don't know. It'd be kind of something he'd just probably put up on Facebook buy and sell or something like that if it came down to it. Let's see. Just catching up on all this stuff about that conversation. Oh, thanks, Tracy. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Um, okay, so Leslie Hughes, you're saying, Joseph, just read diesel heating in Nick's van. I was advised not to put one in mine due to the size and the Jackson and the Mercedes. You have to be very careful, or you can do a lot of harm. Yeah, we okay. So Nick's got 2 heaters in his van. He's got an S-bar that's factory installed, which is on the driver's side. That's hooked up through his engine coolant loop, so it actually heats up his engine and keeps it warm in cold times when he's just parked the van. So that way it's kind of like a off-grid heater block in a way. And it also heats. It also operates the heater core up in the front HVAC system as well as one for the rear HVAC system. He deleted his rear, but you can just turn the key on, turn the fan on, and turn the S-bar on, and you can heat the van that way. And then he's installed his Webasto underneath the passenger seat, as often a lot of people do. So yeah, I mean, there's that, I suppose. But the install looks good to me. I don't see it complicating anything with jacks and stuff like that. But you'd have to be careful for sure. Got to think about where you put all that stuff so that you can still jack things up properly and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, Craig Betts, how you doing, buddy? You got a small turkey for Easter. Happy Easter to you, Craig. Happy Easter to everybody, you guys. I know that, like, just happy Easter. Good times. Susan Scoville, yeah, the one I have is a Planar D2 heater in my van currently, and it goes off of diesel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Charity. Thanks for the coffee. And thank you, Tracy LaRossi. Appreciate it, you guys. Thanks so much. Charity, I saw your comment there earlier just about your electrical system. You got a Jackery Explorer 1000, 100-watt solar panels, USB water pump, USB fan, 12-volt cooler, 2-burner propane stove. Am I missing anything important? I don't know. Like, I mean, it sounds like you got some basics that are covered there. Like, yeah. When it comes to van life and sort of like picking out your system and all that sort of stuff, you kind of need to work backwards a little bit, and you can also work forwards, but backwards in the sense of like, I need a heater, I need a fridge. I want to be able to charge my computer, so I need an inverter, or possibly some computers you don't need an inverter for. You can just convert 12 volt over with like a USB-C and stuff like that. So little things like that to think of. Those battery units like a Jackery or all those different, there's a whole bunch of different brands out there that do that sort of stuff. They're kind of nice because in a way you can, without knowing too much, you can just get one of those and then get into a van and sort of get on the road, and it'll get you started. I started out with a little one myself, and it got me by for a while, and then I eventually I wanted more power, and so I built out my electrical system, and I built out Nick's electrical system. I built out a couple of electrical systems. If I were to build out another electrical system tomorrow, I'd even do it differently from how I have been doing it too. So it's everything's changing too. Like, a lot of these companies are coming out with some really cool stuff when it comes to these kind of like off-grid situations and stuff. I might dive deeper into that kind of like logistics in videos down the road, but for now I'm just like kind of learning and mostly just keeping that to myself and learning and stuff like that. I don't have a whole lot to talk about right now, but definitely the industry is growing. Yeah. Caroline Stacey's and Joseph, have you been able to curb your spending and charging? I'm not sure what you mean, Caroline, but maybe you can elaborate a bit more. I'll try to keep an eye out for you in the comments, and we'll see. Ollie Milburn, you're asking me when I'm going fishing again. Hopefully soon, man. Hopefully really soon. I just want to. I did go fishing the other day, but soon I'll do some more fishing again. I'd like to take Mark the painter out and do some fishing with him. So, and Bruce Van Life Jr., how you doing, bud? Good to see you in here. Happy Easter to you. Here, you guys are kind of cool over there in Calgary. Kind of been reading some of these comments in reverse order here, so it's all good. All right, just catching up. Oh, it's all good, Raven. I forgive you. I know it's all good. You just bumping around there. It's all good. Raven accidentally blocked someone. She accidentally blocked my mom. She was driving and doing too many different things at the same time and hit some buttons, and that's what happened. So I thought it was unusual. I caught it, and I was like, no, that's not, like, I know Raven didn't do that on purpose. She knows who my mom is, so it's all good. But that was it. Tanis Power, Crash Organism, yeah, talking about earth roamers. Earth roamers are really big trucks, all built out for off-grid, overland use and stuff like that. They're, I think it's Ford that makes them. It's basically like a super done out overland vehicle. Yeah, you can go look them up. They are they got they're fancy. I don't know, I'm not drawn to them personally, but there's something for everybody out there. They're cool though. They're definitely neat. I don't know too much about them, but they're also really expensive too. So, well, Vicky, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, happy Easter to you too. Oh, Mike Shea's in here too, are you? Mike, good to see you, buddy. Hey, there you are. Mike Shea's a good friend of mine, you guys. He's we've done a lot of we've sat in each other's company quite a bit in men's circles and stuff, doing a lot of personal work and stuff like that. And so and Mike's got like a degree in counseling and stuff, and he works kind of in that industry with I think it's like counseling and addictions and that sort of stuff. And that's, anyway, really good friend and really nice to have chats with. So good to see you in here, bud. Happy Easter to you. Hope you're having a good one. Trekkie Trek, you're asking, Joseph, the book about anxiety, what was the title and author, please, my friend? It was so I was talking about Duane and Catherine O'Kane, O''Kene or something like that, and the book was, I think, called Real Connection. You could also just look up a website called clearmind.ca or .com or .org. Just do a Google search on Clear Mind, all one word, and you'll find them. But yeah, Mike Shea also went through the whole Clear Mind program as well. So we shared some of that stuff. He went through the whole thing, whereas I just did the first year, and then the pandemic happened, and I really wanted to finish the whole 3-year program, but I lost my job, and there was no way I could continue the program. I couldn't finance it anymore, so I had to drop it. And I don't think they teach that anymore, but they offer a lot of personal development workshops and stuff like that, but they're not doing the counseling school so much anymore. But there's still a ton of stuff in there. Like I've learned some of the most important stuff about, you know, mental health and looking after myself from taking that course with those guys. So they do some pretty cool workshops. Like there's one called the Awakening. If you're in the BC area and you're looking for something like to really like just kind of like how should we say it, like take the lid off of your yourself and your life and stuff like that, you could go do one of those weekend workshops with those guys. But it's a commitment. It's something that's going to really open up, and you what am I trying to say, you want to be open to it if you're going to do it, and be ready to work with yourself and be vulnerable and that sort of thing. But it's a real safe environment to do all that stuff. And yeah, you get right down deep with your deeper parts of yourself and below the masks of that you wear in life. And they'll talk all about that stuff. But masking, like, you know, like it's just stuff, it's these behaviors that we exhibit when we're anxious or we're uncomfortable. We might put on this mask that we're like this happy, positive person when deep down inside we're really hurting a lot. Or you're going to be aggressive and defensive, and that's kind of like your strategy of sort of protecting this inner vulnerable self that's really hurt and injured. Or you're going to go hide and sort of like, you know, try to be away from people in society and be a recluse. Like there's all these unusual behaviors that we adopt, and most of it's trauma based from childhood. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, real bad traumas and stuff. Like it's just connections. It's just like you were looking for love from your parents or something in some situations, and they felt like, you know, they had to discipline you for something, and they disciplined you based on how they knew how to discipline and love you at the same time. And you know, they might have had some shortcomings with that misguided you down a different path. And at that age when you're so young, like you don't have the sensibility of things, you don't have the mental development and all that sort of stuff to really understand the situation. So all you want when you're a child is you want to know that you're loved and you're connected with your parents and the people that you trust the most, and you'll do anything to get that. And so usually we create these little nuances in our behaviors at that age to make sure that we keep that, and then we take that into adulthood. And well, eventually that stuff messes us up. So clear mind in that whole weekend workshop, the awakening workshop, and some of the stuff they do is really good at breaking through that sort of stuff and making you confront it, or inviting you to confront it anyway. But there's other groups out there that'll do that. I think I talked about the Mankind Project on here, where they do some similar stuff. And the Mankind Project is all over the whole world. It's mostly like, well, it's, and as far as I know, I believe it's all focused on male masculinity and healthy masculinity. So it's that kind of stuff, but it's more geared towards you know, men and that sort of thing. And it's very appropriate. It's a very good organization to tap into and sort of like look into and work with. And I went through that too. I went through that with Mike Shea as well. We went to a I think it was called, what was it called? New Adventure Warrior Training. I think that's the name of it. And we did that in Souk, not too far away from where I am now. And that was a trip. That was really cool. That was quite an experience. So, and some of that stuff is super powerful. Like it's really cool. Just to like learn some of that deeper stuff about yourself. And did you catch that? I just moved and a little squeak came out. Susan Scoville, I'm 43. You're asking how old I am. I'm 43. Hmm. Oh, thanks, Ramblin' Rocketeer. I see you kind of booted that person out of here. That was great. Appreciate that. Good use of that moderator stuff. Yeah, Vicky D, you're saying there's always room to work on our mental health, especially these days and years. It's pretty fascinating. Like there's a lot of, to me, I feel like, and I know part of this has to do with the age that I'm at now, and I'm sort of like becoming more aware of this sort of thing because of, my age and because I'm like looking into it and stuff. But I know this kind of stuff has been around for a while, but I feel like nowadays with the internet and with communications, all these different formats of communicating, that this stuff is being more broadly shared and understood and collectively like realized, I suppose. And it's great. So there's so much about it to learn, and it's really quite fascinating. But yeah, mental health, like I mean, like there's every human being on the planet, I'm sure there's some facet of mental health that they could work on within themselves. So it's not like a taboo subject or something to be ashamed of or anything like that. It's not like, I don't think it should be viewed that way. It's just about, it's like a mental exercise, really. It's just about, and speaking of exercise, you really need to do physical exercise more. So just a little self-critic popped in my brain there. But yeah, mental exercise is really important, and so is physical exercise. And I think, we've focused a lot on physical health and stuff like that as a species in our particular collective sense of awareness around health. And we put a lot of focus on that sort of stuff. And we kind of talk about diet as well, but we know pretty well crap about it. I think we're starting to understand diet and nutritional health more these days the same way. And I think there's a lot of developments in that area as well. And physical as well, like just understanding human anatomy and the way joints move and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of cool stuff coming around. But I mean, you come into this world and you learn from your sphere of influence, and you build your body, and you grow up, and you essentially get to this point where then you start to realize more and more of this stuff as you age and get older. And I guess it's just, it's kind of important to kind of continue to learn and continue to go, okay, that's a new piece of information. How can I put this into my life? And if you come, like there's times when you get too much information all at once, and you just feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much I got to do, and how do I do it all? And it can be kind of crippling. And I've had moments like this. And so then it would be like, so then I would kind of like do something to distract myself from that, whether it be drinking or overeating. I usually went for food and stuff like that, but occasionally like I'd drink or something like that to distract myself from what was going on, or I'd do some kind of behavior, some anxiety binding behavior of some type, as I was talking about earlier, and you would, it's kind of like a way of, what's that word? Soothing. It's like self-soothing. Essentially, that's what you're doing. You get overwhelmed by something, and so you self-soothe for a while. And then you come out of being, doing that, and you kind of feel bad about yourself for self-soothing or drinking or doing whatever the activity it was, and say, well, okay, well, that didn't help. I just kind of like set myself further back or something like that. But I don't know. At least this is kind of some of the narrative I would have, or the conversations I would have with myself. And then I would be like, okay, well, at least I'm aware that there's a lot of things that I got to change and stuff that I got to grow. So I'll just start doing some of it. And every now and then I would self-soothe in one form or another. And at one point in time, I realized that it's it's actually like it's important to be aware of self-soothing, and I think there's a benefit to it, and it's a part of all of our lives, and it's there for a reason. And I think at one point in time, I kind of validated at one point for myself, and I said, you know, I am self-soothing for a reason. Like, this is a big undertaking. There's a lot here that's difficult to process, and so being able to reel back and sort of go, okay, I need to do this, but it's also knowing when you've done that enough, and then be like, that's enough self-soothing. Now I need to actually approach this. And so it's kind of like going, okay, I'm scared, and I need to like be with myself so I can get through this moment. And it's like, okay, but I still need to get through it, so let's get through it. So yeah, and friends are useful for that. Community is great for that. But developing that relationship with yourself as well is probably the most important, because you're with yourself most of the time, like, and then it's good to create that relationship. So anyway, self-soothing, it's good to do, but obviously, it's not good if it leads to addictions and behaviors where it's just like it's got control of you, and you're not able to approach certain things. But I mean, sometimes, like, people are in so much pain that they can't they can't turn that off, because they're just totally overwhelmed by the amount of pain and trauma that they're facing in their life. And they need help. They need some help. They need some peers. They need some people to kind of like talk through it and work through it and stuff like that. And yeah, it's I still think you can overcome a lot of things, and work your way to more and more happiness and balance in your life. Anyway, I've been in some like deep holes in my life, you know, just dark, deep holes. And I was just like, okay, I gotta get out, gotta work through this. And it's relative. Dark, deep holes for me would be, to some people, like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. And to other people, they'd be like, yeah, that would be horrible. So I think everything is kind of relative. Like, you're going to have some things in your life where you experience joy. Certain things bring you joy. And for somebody else, that might be magnificent, or that might be like, I've had better kind of thing, whatever. I mean, it's funny to say that, but I think we should be grateful for everything. But, and I was reminding myself earlier today that I should be grateful, and pay attention to that. Remind myself to think about the good things that are going on and be grateful for them. Tracy, you're saying I should do sleep videos to calm those with anxiety. Well, I used to teach restorative and yin yoga, and I love doing that. And I felt it was good when some of the students would fall asleep. It's pretty neat. Trekkie Trek, I had a dysfunctional attachment as a child with my parents. There lays my trauma. Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah, man. I mean, trauma's like, it can go with your parents. And it's not even like, the weird thing is if like you really, if they pulled off their mask and you pull off your mask and you both get really real with each other, that can be a hard thing to invite, by the way, like because some people wear that mask to their grave, they'll never open up. But if you could and understand, you know what they want, they just want to feel loved and connected the same way, and they might be holding on to a trauma that they adopted when they were a kid and they brought it all the way into adulthood, and they have kids, and then their behaviors or trauma-based behaviors that end up creating more trauma in the children that they have. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting, like you can unpack it in the sense of like family systems theory, which is understanding the generations of trauma going back, and you can even look at a whole country, and you can look at the history of that whole country and see what kind of history the country's gone through, and you can see how that, stop it, that's pretty loud, you can see how the mannerisms of everybody in that culture are specific to the history that's happened to them. And so it's pretty wild, but everything's connected. And it's pretty neat. And I think we're unpacking that more and more as we learn more about all this stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah Cloudwell. Yeah, happy Easter to you too. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Everybody, thanks for the birthday wishes, and totally love that. And thanks for the happy Easter wishes. Happy Easter to you guys too. To me, Easter is like, I don't know, I really don't do, the thing about Easter that I loved was going on an Easter egg hunt, and that's pretty much, that was Easter for me growing up, and that's kind of Easter to me still, although I don't really go on Easter egg hunts anymore. That might be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do a meetup in next year, and we'll do like an Easter egg hunt meetup or something like that. That would be fun. Would that not be fun? That would be fun. Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe we could hide more than just Easter eggs. But yeah, Easter egg hunts are pretty fun. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so just switching it up a little bit. Are you happy with your van, or do you plan or hope to change? Brad Crawford, you're asking, am I happy with my van, or do you plan or hope to change? I mean, I'm kind of happy with my van, and there's things about my van that I'm, not overly thrilled about. It's an older vehicle. It's kind of wimpy. Like, I mean, it's got a pretty decent engine in it, but it's not really built for the trails, and I'm putting it through some real paces. And I've beefed up the suspension, I've spent some money on all that stuff, and I put some really good tires on it, and it's great. It affords me to go to those places. I do have to be careful with it, but it's you know it's kind of delicate, and I have to be careful with it. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more robust, and the engineering was like overbuilt, and it could just really deal with all that stuff, and it just totally give me peace of mind, and I'd be like, yeah, it's all good. I'd also like to be able to stand up in my van. So I mean, like, I got a lot of space in here. Like, I feel that way. I built it out to maximize the space in the van. To me, having space is such an important, valuable asset. And I had to preserve as much of that in this van as I could. So, I could add things and have more gear with me and all that sort of stuff, and maybe be able to do certain adventures. Like, I could put an inflatable kayak in here, for example, and do some more cool stuff on the water and stuff like that. But it means giving up space, and the space to me is really important. So I have space. In a bigger van, though, I would carry probably an inflatable kayak, or I'd have my sewing machines with me or something like that. So Yeah, I'd like to have a bigger van, but this is what I could afford to get at the time that I was getting into van life. And this made 100% made absolute sense to me to buy this particular van. And so I'm in this van, and it doesn't necessarily fit that anymore, but it's still quite valuable to me, and I do enjoy it. So it's good in that way. And I do hope to change. Yeah, totally hope to change. I really like the Sprinter van. There's a lot of things about it, although I am concerned about the rust that I've seen on some of the body work of Sprinter vans and stuff like that. And I know everyone's got opinions and stuff like that. I think they're all great. And it's pretty interesting to, like, I mean, it kind of bugs me that some people are so brand oriented. Like, well, if you don't have this, then, that's, you know, you're not a part of this club or something like that. I can't associate with you and stuff like that. And I think it's too bad. Like, one of my best friends, he's owned about 120 different motorcycles in his life, every brand of motorcycle, and multiple times. And he's like, there's a subculture in each one of those brands. And a lot of them are diehards, and they won't associate with the rest of them. They think the rest of them are fools. And everywhere you look, it's motorcycles, it's cars, it's type of cutlery you use in your kitchen. It's really interesting that we self-identify with brand objects and sort of classify ourselves as like part of this group or this group. And it really just brings up the whole conversation about identification with certain things. It's like, even van life. Like, I don't identify myself with van life. I like van life, but I'm not identified by it. And I think that's an important distinction to make. So I think all vans have their merit, for sure. I just happen to like that one. And I know some people will be like, well, I don't like you because you like that one. And I hear that. And okay. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry, because I know I have that feeling, and I'm looking over at Nick's van, and I'm like, well, I appreciate it for this reason. And to me, that's, my opinion matters more than somebody else's, really. Not to discredit somebody else's opinion, though, but we could talk about it for a long time, and I'm sure the great debate would be to come out all these brands and all these different things and all this stuff would be like, if everyone was transparent about all this stuff, we could probably get beyond our egos and really create some really cool things, and maybe use our resources a little bit better, make some neat things. But anyway, yeah, I'd like a bigger van, like a Sprinter van or something like that. But to be honest, like, I can't afford one right now. I'm going to be in this one because of that. Like, I mean, I'm going to use what I have, and it's going to work. And I love this thing. Like, it's amazing. It's really great. Like, I'm really happy with the way I built this van out. Like, it really works well for me. There's some things about it that aren't perfect, but it works really well. So, get something that you can afford if you are getting a van or doing this kind of lifestyle. Put your heart into it, and do it because that's what you want to do. And also, when it comes to identification, try not to identify yourself with things. Identify yourself with yourself. That's probably a good thing to identify yourself with. But even like points of view and things, it's like, let it all go. It's always be dynamic. It's really important. Yeah. Yeah, Tanis, at Van Life Biker, I'm confused as to what I actually want. A 19 or 20 foot 4x4 Class C would be perfect for me. Like, there's your answer. Then just go get one. Like, or, work towards one. Like, you know, keep an open mind, and if it's still like that lands here and it feels good in here and it's just that's it, then go with that. You're not going to be wrong. It's perfect. I mean, you'll appreciate it because you appreciate it. Somebody else might not appreciate it for the same reasons that you appreciate it, and that's fine too. But yeah, Van Life Biker Harley Heritage Classic. My biker friend. You guys, I've chatted with him on the channel. He's been on the channel, Lonnie Anderson. He's got good things to say about all motorcycles, and he's got, negative things to say about all motorcycles too. Mostly he talks about the positive aspects and stuff like that. He's kind of a positive outlook character. Wander, hang on a second. Wander, you sent me another super chat back there and I almost missed it. Thanks, buddy. Holy smokes, man, you really put me on solid ground today. Thanks, buddy. I think I was chatting for so long I missed over that one, but thanks so much. Oh, man. Yeah, do a meetup. I'm gonna do a meetup in Insanity. I don't know when. I figure I'll do it after next van build or something like that, or maybe I'll do it before that van build's done. I don't know. I will have. Yeah, I could do it. I could do it in the next month or two. You never know. Working my way towards it. A more adult Easter egg hunt would be cool. Yep. I don't know what. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that would entail, but Mom says dressed up as rabbits. I mean, it's so fun. I don't know. It would be fun. In the right setting, in the right situation, it would be a lot of fun. Especially if everyone felt safe to act as they wanted to and bring out that little inner kid and stuff like that. And not everybody's comfortable doing that sort of thing, so, but it would be fun. That'd be a cool thing to do, like at the end of one of those like retreats, like with the clear mind retreats that I was talking about that I went to before, or something like that. That'd be kind of fun there, or like something like that. Wanderer, thanks, buddy. Hang on. Nick is painting something. Wanderer says, I sure wish I was in Canada so I could meet up with you. I would have to take a plane and then an SUV to get to you. LOL. So all I can do is send you lots of love and try to support you. You're the best. Or the best you can. Thanks, man. You are the best. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. Oh, man. That's cool. Yeah, you can also join Patreon. Tracy LaRosa just shared my Patreon link there. I'm not sure if you're on there, but yeah, you guys can jump on Patreon and then you'll get more like up-to-date updates on like what I'm up to and stuff like that. Sometimes I share some deeper thoughts and stuff that I don't often talk about or share, or I kind of bounce things off Patreon a little bit more, like especially if I have a sensitive video that I'm like, I don't know, I'll kind of feel it out a little bit on Patreon first and then do that. And or sometimes I just I don't know. Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. Uh-oh. I was reading something though, so that's what happened. Um, Easter eggs. All right. Yeah, so Margie Robato, my 2011 Transit Connect is not built for trails, but it's all I could afford. When I was a teenager, I used to ride the fire trails in New Jersey in my Mustang. So yeah, I mean, this van was all I could afford, and this is not an off-road vehicle. The vehicle I had before this was a two-door Jeep Wrangler. It was all lifted out. It had a bigger suspension kit and stuff like that built into it, and I definitely took that on the trails. This van's not going to go to anywhere that Jeep would have gone, but you know, it's a more suitable home, and that was more important. So I can. There's a lot of roads you can still go on it, but there's obviously some places that you won't be able to take your Transit Connect, and just be careful with it, be gentle with it, and stuff like that. And obviously, like if you guys are going to venture out on like back roads with a vehicle that's not really equipped for back roads, I did this in my smart car. I used to drive my smart car up some of these really steep mountain roads in Squamish, like really nasty, gnarly roads. I drove my smart car up there. And the only reason I could get away with it is because it had a shorter wheelbase and it had a narrower wheelbase. So all the normal potholes and rivets that a lot of the bigger vehicles just had no choice but not to avoid, I was able to kind of snake my way through them. But you kind of have to be respectful that there's going to be some bigger vehicles out there that are going to be going at it pretty quick. Some of them are big logging trucks, people that are working. So try not to put yourself in a position where you're, you know, gonna break down and become somebody else's problem or something like that, or use some common sense and stuff like that. Is guess what I'm trying to say, and don't put yourself in harm's way either. Like if someone out there is obviously doing a timber cut and there's a lot of big logging trucks, it's probably not a good road to like spend any time on, even if your rig is geared up for it. Let those guys do their job and go somewhere else if you can, that sort of thing. Or just like be aware and make sure your headlights are on and be ready to move over. So there's kind of like a backcountry etiquette when it comes to like stuff like that, but try to have some recovery stuff too. So like get yourself at a jam, know how to fix a flat tire, have a flat tire repair kit, that kind of thing. Generally it's pretty easy to fix a flat. If you cut into your sidewall, which is rare, like you got to be really not paying attention if you cut into your sidewall. But if you do that, then of course that's where a spare tire comes in handy. I have one on my van, and I almost think I don't want to have it there because it's just added weight. And I've never slashed a sidewall or anything like that, and I don't really see myself doing it unless I'm just totally not paying attention, and that's possible. Yeah, I might look over here with my doing something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, whoops, So there's still merit for having a spare tire, but a lot of vehicles these days aren't coming with them. Yeah. Yeah. Can I wait a few more months for the meetup? I got to save up some dollars to get up there. Sarah, I'll probably do a couple, like, once I get started on a meetup, I'll probably do another meetup and stuff like that, time and stuff. So it's all about location and stuff like that too. Like I'll be, I'm going to be in this area for a little bit. So I could do one in Victoria or nearby or somewhere on the island or something like that, and then do another one, maybe on the mainland or somewhere like that. I don't know how far I'm going to venture this year, but yeah, we'll see. Um, yeah, realize if you're on a tight budget, stay off those roads, period. And that's true. Like, I mean, back roads are going to they're going to beat up your vehicle, no matter what vehicle you have. And you're going to be spending, it's not just fuel that you need to go on those trips, it's adding to your maintenance bill. And while you don't realize it at the time that you're driving out there on those roads, the clock is like ticking back faster out there than it is on pavement. And it's bringing those more expensive maintenance costs closer and closer to your present day circumstance. So most vehicles are built for pavement. And people that are going back road and off roading and stuff are modifying their vehicles to go there. There's a handful of vehicles that are made for off road, so they're engineered that way. That being said, they're not engineered for pavement, so they don't work as well on pavement. And where are you going to be doing most of your driving and stuff like that? You know, there's a lot of really decent back roads and stuff where you can take a regular two-wheel drive car and you'll do just fine. But it is more wear and tear on the vehicle because they're not designed for that full time. A lot of them are mostly going to be driven on pavement. But some vehicles kind of like engineer things so that they can be a little bit more robust in those kind of environments and stuff like that. So you can do your research and stuff like that, but it's still gonna eat into that maintenance. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Isabel. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Catherine McMurdo, dinner's on you if I'm ever in Toronto area. I'll definitely hit you up, Catherine. I appreciate it. I don't know if I were to drive across Canada, then for sure I'd be in the Toronto area, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that this year. Oh, okay. Thanks, Rambling Rocketeer. Appreciate that moderator movement you did. I just got some, I don't know, best cams, hot girls and boys, 18 plus video chat. Just trying to advertise on my live stream. It's not the place for it, but wow. Oh, Isabel Pierce, you said, hey Joseph, I left a video or a message on your previous video where you're doing water tank connection on a Sprint. Please look at it, respond. I'll try to look that up, Isabel. I just need to take a screenshot of your little comment there so that it kind of reminds me later. I look into that. Yeah. Brad Crawford, since you've been working on the transit and seen some of the problems, which fans have you seen the best for lack of rust? I mean, Brad, to be totally honest, I almost don't have enough experience to give you a real qualified answer for that question. And this one's a Sprinter van. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, who knows? I mean, those Grummond box truck bread trucks, a lot of those were built of aluminum and stuff. I suppose maybe some of those might be really good. I don't know. Box trucks are pretty interesting in how they're built, though. Like, the whole box itself is a little bit, like, I would say it's better. It's a better platform for building a mobile home out of, in a way. Easier to maintain. If you had to replace a box, you could replace a box and all that stuff. But it's a box truck. I mean, it's a big, cumbersome thing. It's fine on a city street, but it is a big vehicle. It definitely draws more attention, especially if you're living out of it. And, you know, I think, like, it does and it doesn't. It depends how you do it. So, and then it's, of course, do you like them? Do you want to drive a bigger vehicle like that? All that kind of stuff. So there's, all that stuff to consider. But yeah, I mean, like, if a company were to build like a full fiberglass body or something like that, that would be pretty cool. Ohio girl, thank you. Happy Easter to you too. Yeah, Isabel. Yeah, I see you saying that again. I'll look into your comment there. I put that video out this morning and I had a look at a few of the comments this morning and I haven't got back to it. I was just like kind of just hanging out here, mostly had a nice long coffee with Nick this morning, and then we're sitting around and talking about the van stuff, and had a nice breakfast and stuff, and but not doing too much. I just decided I was gonna jump on and do a live here today anyway. Lee, I'm eating. It's like I'm almost done, but it's basically like yogurt, and it's green because I put spirulina powder in it. There were some dandelions and pumpkin seeds and stuff like that in it, so that's all. There's some chia seeds in there too. Ollie Milburn, do I find wild garlic and wild strawberry in BC? I've come across a lot of wild strawberries, but I haven't seen the wild garlic or wild onions. But since I've been out here on the island, I think the other day, I wasn't certain, but I think I saw miner's lettuce for the very first time. I've read about that stuff a lot, but I've never actually seen it while being over on the mainland. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that again and see if I can find it again. I'd like to try that stuff. But yeah, there's some stuff that I just haven't seen, and I started doing a lot of my backcountry sort of wild food foraging and stuff when I was living in around the Horseshoe Bay area in West Vancouver and Vancouver, North Vancouver, that area. And there's quite a bit there, but there's some things that just weren't there. And then of course the countryside around it and stuff like that too. Tennis Power, you're asking, do I use spirulina on a regular basis? Not really. I mean, I have a little bag of it in here, and it's probably been in my van. I moved it into one of these bags because it came in one of those. Sometimes the store packaging doesn't seal real well, and so I transferred over this because it was making a mess in my drawer. But that's been in my van for maybe a year, so I haven't been using it that quickly. I just thought of it today. I was like, oh, I have some of that stuff, because I was looking at stuff in a store and I was like, I think I have that in my van, so I'll probably burn through it now that I have it there. Wanderer, you're saying, I live in a Mazda CX-5 Sport SUV for about 5 years, and all that matters is that I'm happy and there's no drama, and it's amazing. My lifetime wishes that everyone will find what makes them happy. That's a great, yeah, excellent. Love that. Thank you, Wanderer. Definitely wish everyone finds something that makes them happy. And happiness is interesting, because Nick's been kind of on my case lately. It's not coming across right now because I'm in good spirits at the moment, but I've been kind of negative Nancy lately. Like, maybe not negative Nancy, but like I've been grouchy is more like it. I've been a bit of a grouch this last month, and I think part of it's just because I've been feeling a bit stuck, and I've been sort of like hanging out in Nick's backyard, and I was here last summer working on his van, and I kind of feel itchy, and I want to get on the road and move and sort of do stuff. But I know that it's important. Like I also feel it's important that I kind of put that aside and go like, what can I be grateful for? And so I'm trying to pull more of that out and be grateful for things. And there's a lot to be grateful for. And of course, I'm here. I'm working on his van. He wants this project to be done. I'm making some money with it, so it's benefiting me financially as well, and that's helping me move forward. And I really am grateful to have that opportunity right now. And then it's really helpful in a lot of ways. But I guess I kind of, there's a part of me that also wants to get out and see some scenery and stuff like that too, and be on an adventure. So I've probably been a little bit grumpy because I feel stuck a little bit. But that being said, like, I was chatting about this with Mark the paint guy a little while ago, because he was feeling a little bit glum as well. Not too long ago, we were having a conversation about it, and I was saying, like, if anything I've learned in the last like couple of years, it's like, I'm having a hard time to go do something that I enjoy doing and fully enjoy it when I know that there's something that I need to take care of that needs taking care of. And so the last, like, even 3-4 years or so, I've been focusing more on facing what it is in my life that I need to take responsibility for, and then doing that. And so that's that's the tricky part, because oftentimes that stuff is not fun. It doesn't bring joy and excitement. It's dull, it's drab, it's uncomfortable, it's, there's all kinds of reasons not to do it. And but I'm like, but I got to do it. And so, and then as I do them and I face them and I do that stuff, I've been choosing that more than the stuff that I want to go do. And so I've been sort of in this phase of my life where I've been facing the responsibilities and doing that more than the fun stuff. And I'm trying to fit in some of the fun stuff and share some of that stuff with you guys too. But all in all, the long-term sort of experience from doing that, or sort of the result of doing that, is I feel a lot better and I feel more stable. There's still some loose ground beneath me, but I know that when I put my energy towards those sort of things, that becomes more solid. And so that's what I've been working on a lot more. And yeah, just facing that stuff that's, responsibilities and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Tanis, you probably use a spirulina about the same way I do, and about as often. Pretty much. Yeah. I used to use it a lot more. I had some other stuff, like, what I found I used the most of was when I would go foraging for plants. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because I just did a pretty cool foraging video just a couple days ago, so that's going to be coming out eventually. But I was like, and that's a representation of how it was like for me when I was like living off of wild foods for a whole summer. And I had a garden at this house that I lived in, so I grew kale. There was a couple conventional things that I grew, but mostly things that I ate was all wild foods for 2 months out of a summer. It might have been 2.5 months, I think. And the best I ever felt in my life was then, in terms of just physical health and all that sort of stuff, spiritual health. And I want to do that again. And so that little adventure I had out foraging the other day reminded me of that. And I had a space then. I was living in a big bedroom in the bottom of this house, beautiful house in West Vancouver, gorgeous, like just super nice, like big house. And I was living there for practically nothing. It was just a really nice arrangement. The owner of the house was a mentor of mine, and that was Lonnie. And so that was a phase of my life where I was living there, and it was so beautiful, and it was a really good time. But in this big bedroom that I had, there was always a rotation of wild foods coming and going, and I would be drying stuff and all this stuff and putting it in jars and bags and all that stuff and into the freezer, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I want to be able to do that again, and I can't just do that inside a van because I need a lot more space to be able to dry things and process things and move it along in a certain way. So I've been thinking a lot more about that and how, like, I'd love to have a space like that that I could work towards and get that, because I really want to incorporate all of that back into my life, and I want to share that also with you guys. It's something I'm really passionate about, and it's really neat. And it made me feel incredibly good. But I was excited because I'd have like a little bag like that in my van, where instead of beef spirulina, which is pretty cool stuff, I'd have little bags of all this stuff that I had foraged and dried out and all that stuff. And I just, like, all year long, I always had this stuff, and it was great. And right now, I don't really have any of that stuff in here now, but I'm gonna try to work towards having more and more of that wild food stock in the van, so keep me going over the winter and stuff like that. I'm like, berry season's gonna come up later summer. I'd love to just fill a freezer full of berries and just, have smoothies, make really cool salad dressings and stuff like that. I don't know, put them in soups, get crazy, do whatever. Mix them up in a sausage recipe or something like that. That kind of thing. So, but really, really fun. Like, just, I love food, guys. I really love food. And especially when it's like really close to, the real thing, and it's close to nature and stuff. It's something I'm really passionate about, obviously. But, well. Oh, Van Gal, yeah, I see you there. Joseph just popped in to say hi. Phone battery low, sorry I can't stay. If you're still here, just want to say hello back to you. And, yeah, really cool to have you in here. So happy Easter to you, Van Gal. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, nutritional yeast. I use it for the cheese flavor in lots of foods. I've gone through a period where I used a lot of that stuff too. I haven't had any in a while, but yeah, it does have kind of a cheesy flavor to it, and B vitamins and all that stuff in there. It's good stuff. Oh, Lee, Prelude, thanks for the super chat, bud. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Thanks, Lee. Really, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. That's really generous of you. Thanks a lot. Man, this is fun today. Yeah, tennis. See, another reason why I'm leaning towards a Class C is more room for growing and drying stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, I had this back when I was pretty close to buying a Sprinter van before I got this van. I was going to do a drying rack system up in the ceiling of it, where, I'd just get the mesh that I need, and it would just be something that I'd kind of keep in a cupboard, and I'd pull it up and just kind of elastic it all up and then put everything up there. I'd still do that, and I might even still do that in this van too. It's going to give me some low headroom, but I might still do it in here. Like, if I'm on a road trip, I can just get that drying process going while I'm out on the road, and maybe bring that back to a place like here or something and just sort of like finish it off. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And there's some pretty cool plants out there. Like, it's amazing to see what it is that we as human beings have gravitated towards in grocery stores. And like, the foods that we put, as far as fruits and vegetables, a lot of it's annual foods. You plant the seed, grows into a plant. It produces some kind of food product, a fruit or a vegetable or something like that. And it's usually part of the reproductive system of that plant, and then it dies. And the idea is the plant is it's just trying to pass along its genetic over, every season to season. So a lot of the foods that we eat are annuals, and that's what an annual is. It's a plant that only survives for a year. And then there's some that are biannuals where they'll have like 2 years of growth. So there'll be like one type of growth 1 year. And then the next year that like this is just gonna be all vegetative growth and that grows really tall and strong. And then the next year it's like, okay, we're gonna fruit, we're gonna create seed, we're gonna pollinate. And so there's, those types of plants. Then there's perennials where they're just like they grow and then the winter comes and they kind of like flatten out, and some of it decays, and next summer comes along and they grow again, and they just do that year after year after year after year. And we don't eat a lot of those, we don't farm a lot of those, but those are probably some of the best, most nutritious packed plants that you could eat, or the edible perennials, and super easy to grow. Like when they do grow, they're like, yeah, we like this place, and they stick around. And it's good for the soil, very easy to maintain. You don't have to plant them every year, any of that stuff. It's just you go out there, they get to a certain stage, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pull off these leaves and leave the rest of you to keep going, and so you don't stress it out too much, and then that's it. But provide food for you like over and over again. Really neat. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wonder, really? Reality really stinks. Which is why I like to get away from the city and just head into the mountains and stay up there a couple days. The air is so refreshing, and I just love it. Well, I really do love the mountain air for sure. I was reading that part and I was just like, man, I love it. And I know exactly what you mean by that. And yeah, sometimes reality and stuff in the city and stuff like that can be kind of busy and that kind of thing. I don't know what you're speaking to exactly with that stuff, but I know that there's there's a story behind that everybody can relate to in some way. Yeah. Tennis Power, you're wondering when that chat is around the fire. Are you talking about the meetup? I don't know. Matt RX7, yeah, freeze dryer. It's called Winter Peg. There is a freezer dryer. This came up on my channel a long time ago, and I remember there was a subscriber that even wanted to collaborate with me on a freezer dryer or something like that, and I don't know, somehow the conversation dried up, but I was just starting out back then too. I had no idea what they were about, but they're basically like this way to freeze dry your food. And you can buy like these domestic commercial grade freezer dryers or stuff like that. They're kind of pricey, but pretty neat at the same time. Insanity, you're asking if I can forge things all year long. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's always going to be something that you can forge for. Obviously, there's some times of the year where it's not idyllic, and then you're kind of scrapping around for a little, not super desirable stuff. I suppose, and you see some of that in some of those reality TV survivor shows where they put people out that know how to live off the land or something like that, and they pick the worst time of year to put them out there, and it's just like, it's brutal, man. I wouldn't want to be in those situations. It's just uncomfortable. Yeah, brutal. Testing, right, on your spirits and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, you know, if you have the right skill set and stuff like that, you can get through it, as some of those people do. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I don't know. Survive, like, I think about survival a little bit here and there. I know some people that are really, you know, like, oh yeah, you know, survival preppers and that kind of thing. And you know, I hear a lot of people talk about it from time to time. Not that it's a popular subject or anything. It's just like comes up like, oh, what if this happened? You know, what would you do? And you know, like, I don't know, but like, I know, like, getting in your van and running off to the bush is like, you know, not the best choice, I don't think. And it's like I'm not in any better position than these guys in the house. Like, survival is, you know, it depends. Like, if there's a natural disaster or something like that, it's not like cut loose and run and go find a better place. Yeah, you can go do that. I mean, but there's a lot of people that you're already in a community and you share it. Like, the best thing is that you got relationships. You know, if it's your calling to leave and go somewhere else, then, you know, and you need to honor that in yourself. Okay, well, that's fine too. Like, you know, I'm not going to criticize that. But at the same time, it's like, if stuff like that comes up, it's like the best thing you can do is like go shake the hands of the people that are around you, and like that'd be the best time. And that's what happens in those situations, is people come together and they overcome these situations. It's not like doom and gloom and stuff like that. You're gonna have to go and eat worms and stuff. It's just like, no, I mean, if it came to that, it would be really miserable. I mean, who would want to live like that? Not me. Mm-mm. I eat enough worms anyway. I was like, yeah, I was like, I inadvertently eat bugs and worms all the time. It just happens. Yeah, Les Stroud, Survivor Man. Like, there's all kinds of, like, I mean, that stuff's really cool, and there's some really neat things about all that stuff. But like, yeah, I think like in those ultimate survival situations, like those really, like, you know, doom and gloom things, the best thing is just to like to connect and share knowledge. And I mean, we kind of do that anyway. We're surviving anyway, and we've already built up a whole society around connecting and sharing knowledge, and it's moved us forward. So, in some ways, there's growth to be had for sure. Things are kind of messy, and make some improvements here and there. But essentially, that's what you do, is you just kind of like rebuild and that sort of thing. You know, it's not like, yeah, I'm going to get this big collection of guns and ammo, and I'm going to go survive off the land and all that stuff. Man, if everybody did that, there'd be like no animals and no plants and all that stuff, and it would just be a complete disaster. And that's not the right approach anyway. That would be shooting yourself in your own foot, behaving like that. You would what? You'd survive for a little while, and then you would, you know, then you'd be kind of like in this dire situation, and you'd be like, well, crap, this is kind of miserable. And yeah, would be. Would have been better off working with your friends, making things better. Oh man. Yeah. Inadvertently eating bugs, but worms? Question mark. I bought a chicken the other day. No, I won't share the story, man. It's funny to me, and it was kind of comical, but I was like, I shared it with somebody, and they were just like completely grossed out. And I was like, yeah, I was pretty grossed out too. I don't know if I should gross any of you guys out. Some of you guys are gonna have turkey for dinner, so I won't share. Yeah, Well, it is sharing the wild, as you know. And it was wild. Oh. Yeah, we all have imaginations. Exactly. You guys get the idea, for sure. Well, it's just there's worms inside my body right now. I'm sure, I don't know if there's any big ones in there. By big, I mean visible, but maybe. I don't know. There's definitely those smaller ones that you can't see with your naked eye. We all got those. And there's a lot of creatures that are living on us and in us. And it's just the way it is. So, yeah, as I finish my food, I could tell you the story while I'm eating chicken and I would be okay. Just not that chicken. Oh. Thanks, BC Island girl. Yeah. Are we, hang on, are we buffering a little bit? How's the speed, you guys? Oh, hang on, no, it's, my laptop's buffering. But that's because it's on Wi-Fi, not on cellular. And that should be on cellular, so we should be good. Yeah, Jennifer, so I just had a bowl full of yogurt. I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. We didn't really plan anything for today, so I'm at Nick's place. I don't know. I think they're actually going out for dinner, so I'm on my own for dinner tonight. I don't know what I'm going to have. I've got avocado. I've got eggs. I've got cucumbers. I don't really have any sort of salad greens right this moment. I got some tomatoes. I don't know, might just have some scrambled eggs, and that might be all that I have. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, let's see. We are. Hang on, I gotta plug this guy, the other phone, in here. Yeah, maybe an omelet. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I got a little bit of Parmesan cheese in my fridge, so I could have an omelet. That might be good. Yeah, I don't know. Might have something like that for dinner tonight. Ramblin' Rocketeer. I get coconut wireless here. Those coconuts are great, eh? Just like, yeah, love those coconuts. Yeah, salt on cucumbers. Salt on cucumbers is great. I also have some celery. Although I ate all my peanut butter, I was eating celery sticks and peanut butter the other day. But I was just, yeah, plowed through the peanut butter. Yeah. You guys are talking about horses and deworming now, I think. Well, that gets into the whole subject of deworming and horses, but I don't think we're going there. Tangents, exactly. Yeah. So, I don't know. Speaking of dinner, though, maybe I should kind of move on and go get some dinner together. I don't really need to though. Like I just finished that yogurt. I'm fine. I don't need any. Yeah. Anyway, food and creepy crawlies and those kinds of stories and stuff like that is probably something that I'll save because maybe one day I'll share some of that stuff, but maybe not now. Yeah, we're still talking worms. Okay, well, okay. I got a story about this one cool worm. I was reading it in this book of mine that I don't have in the van at the moment, but it's pretty cool. There's two worm stories. One is called the horsehair worm. Fascinating story. This isn't going to gross you out too much at all, guys, because it's not a human worm or anything like that. But it's this tiny worm that it's like just a bit thicker than a strand of hair. I think it's like 4 inches long or something like that. And I was reading about it in this book. I think it's called The Forest Unseen. And there was this guy that would go out into the forest and he'd take a meter, and draw a little square on the ground, and he would sit in that square and just observe and make notes about everything that he saw in that square meter of forest. And one day he was out there and he saw a horsehair worm, and so he started writing about the horsehair worm and stuff like that. And he was saying that I get this right. Hang on a sec. I might have screwed this up, guys. I can't remember the whole story. It goes through. Shit. All I know is that part of this life cycle as this worm is it lives inside of a snail, and then it's got this crazy life cycle. It just takes you on the zoo map. You got to look it up. I'm sorry I can't remember. I'm totally known for doing this, where I think of this and then I forget. I just brain fart on the whole thing. So, but if you get curious one day and you're looking for an interesting story about worms, look up the horsehair worm. You can look in that. Yeah. Horsehair worm. There's another really unusual one, and I forget the whole story of that, and that's a meniscus worm, and that's one that lives in the brain of a deer. Or a meninja worm. Lives in the meninja gland or something like that in a worm. And it's this worm that lives in a cervidae, which is like deer, elk, all those sorts of things. And it's a bit of an epidemic, actually, because they're spreading. And that's a real sad story of that particular one and how that affects the deer and all that sort of stuff. And the life cycle of that particular worm is quite unusual as well. But that's another unusual worm. I don't know. That's about all I got on worms. Those are the ones I put on my hook when I go fishing. There's other worms that are pretty common. Pinworms and tapeworms and stuff like that. I suppose that's less common, but still kind of gross. But yeah. And then there's trichinosis, which is another worm that's predominantly found in bear meat and like other types of animals that scavenge for, like on older dead carcasses and stuff in the wild. So yeah. And yeah, heartworms, those are usually associated with dogs. Like those are nasty too. Yeah. Yeah, insanity. I don't know. You guys got me on worms, so we're talking about worms. I'm just not talking about the particular story with my chicken. Anyway. Yeah. Wanderer. Yes, I had a friend who went through physical therapy degree and said he said the more you shower, the more bugs you have on you. I'm still trying to process that embrace. That's pretty interesting, actually. I think I remember hearing something like that too. Also, like when you shower, you're getting rid of this layer of oil and stuff like that that's on your skin, and that's actually like a food product. The oils, like so, your body's excreting oils all the time, and that becomes a food product for your skin and the bioflora, like the biofauna or whatever it is that live on your skin, as well as your skin itself. And so when you're constantly showering, you're using soap and the pH and stuff, and it's just like drying you out, drying you out. You're not having any of that oil that comes out of your body that's there for that. And so you're not feeding all this stuff, and then you become more vulnerable to skin diseases and stuff like that in some respects. But of course, I don't know. I think there's like a healthy balance with showers and stuff like that. Like I think like every few days or something is like kind of magic number. But another way you could do cleaning, and I haven't really embraced this in a while. I'm gonna grab this little brush up here. I was gonna do this more in the backcountry, and I haven't used this since I've been sort of in the city. But a dry brush, and you use this to like scrub yourself. No water, you just scrub with a dry brush, and you can go over your whole body with this sort of thing, and it's basically like a natural exfoliant and cleaner. And so you do all that, and that would take care of a lot of the cleaning that soap would do and stuff like that. And it actually stimulates circulation and all these things on your skin as well, and it's got some benefits to it anyway. I should get into that at some point. Yeah. Thanks, Esther. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay, hi Joseph. Can you share a source of the under the van vent? It looks like a great piece. Pete, are you talking about the vent that was used on Nick's water tank for his that in that last video? Let me know. I'm thinking that that's what you're talking about. But yeah. Tanis Power, you're saying yes, dry brush, but you have to brush towards the heart in circular motions. Yeah. I am not sure if that's if you're being humorous or if you're being serious or what. I only say that because I don't know for sure, and I don't know you that well, but I do know that some people will have certain ways of doing things, and if that is the case, I'd say just explain yourself and stuff like that. And I don't know. I personally, I wouldn't think it would matter which way you brush. You just brush and it's all fine. If you put your heart into it, it's probably good enough. By the way, mealworms can eat styrofoam and not die. Well, that's pretty interesting. That's really interesting. Margie Roberto. Yeah. That brush is the modern day Striegel. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but yeah. Sorry, that was a brush. Yeah, you're saying seriously, look it up. Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Towards the heart. Okay, yeah. Centrifugal. I'm a massage therapist, by the way. Okay, so you're saying that too. Serious, it gets continuous and helps with blood circulation, which turns help clear and eliminate the fatty buildup in the veins. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I get. And then there's a whole thing about like yeah, some other stuff. And I do remember looking into vein health and stuff at one point in my time, and in the heart and stuff, but that had more to do with varicose veins. I had to deal with those for a period of time. I don't have any, like, visible varicose veins right now, but I did at one point. Those all kind of came on all of a sudden, and I was like, oh my. And I had to deal with that. That was kind of a story to go through that. But since then, I've just been like, more or less careful and stuff like that. But yeah, that was weird. I got those when I was in Calgary. I was there for like 10 years, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just started developing varicose veins, and my legs were feeling really achy and bad feeling and really heavy. And I was doing yoga back then, and I was taking their advice, putting legs up the wall, wearing compression socks and leggings and all that stuff for a while. And it was just, yeah, it was just a giant pain in the butt. But ever since I moved out here to the West Coast, that whole thing just went away, and I never had that anymore. It's like now I feel good. So I don't know if it was a climate, or an environmental thing or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but when I had them, I was thinking about like massaging towards the heart. That was something I had to do for that. Oh wow. Let's see. Calgary elevation. That's what I thought. It could have been the elevation that was up there, and that was exactly right, Esther. I was thinking that maybe because I was at a high elevation and stuff like that, it was there was less pressure, and there was probably a little bit less. My body wasn't circulating as well, and so I think being at sea level pressure, it's better. So it probably wouldn't be good for me to go climb Mount Everest or something like that. I don't know. Maybe my body would be like one of those bodies that would be like, no, this isn't good. You're going to be one of those guys that, you know, it just gets affected by that whole thing more than somebody else. So I don't know. Like Forest, right? He just goes up and down mountains all the time, and maybe that sort of thing is more taxing on my body than it would be his. He's kind of a small guy though. And he does that a lot. So he's really well conditioned for that. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna move on here soon. I'm feeling that. If there's any burning questions, anybody, the last minute stuff, if you're hanging on to, now's your chance. Otherwise, I'm gonna yeah, kind of push on to some other stuff. Maybe get back to working on another video edit. But it's been a good time. Really enjoyed this chat with you guys. It's been really nice. Nice way to spend my day. My birthday, Easter day, that kind of thing. And I appreciate all the love and good wishes, you guys. It was really nice too. Thank you so much. All right, here's a couple more questions. What do you think of the Ford Transit or a van with rust? Peter, Canadian, some van lifer. I don't know. Like, I mean, I haven't really seen any rusty Ford Transit, so at least so far, anyway. Mind you, they haven't been on the road as much as some of the other vans and stuff, but so far, seems fine to me. So, yeah. T.Y. Zace, am I talking to any women? I mean, I do chat to women here and there, but yeah, here and there. Not as much as I maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I do talk to women, but like not on a regular basis. Like I don't have a lot of people in my circle of social influence really. Like I've been chatting mostly with Nick and Michaela because they're like here. And I chat with those guys and some of their friends, and then some other people on the island and stuff like that. Mark and Chrome and Emmy, and chat with those guys from time to time. Jeffy Bear, family, some friends and stuff, but not a whole lot. Not right now, anyway. Things are, and that's that. You know, I don't usually have a big circle of people that I chat with. But Ramblin' Rocketeer, you're wondering what happened with the sauerkraut. I got another batch on right now, although I didn't put that in a video, but it's been in there for I think 3 days at this point, so there'll be another batch of that stuff coming on. This time I just did cabbage. That was it. Yeah. That's it, guys. That's it. Much love to you. It's a good time. Stay tuned. I'm gonna try and pick up the pace on the videos a little bit, even though I'm working on next fan. I realize I got 6 in the pipe, and I need to catch you guys up. So I'm gonna try to smash them out in between everything and get things rolling out. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you all soon. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend and your Easter holiday. Much love, guys. Bye for now.